right, we're finally here. Thanks so much for coming, guys.
Yeah, sorry I couldn't get here any earlier. I've been all over the United States for the last 6 months.
What have you been doing?
We built a space camp in Alabama.
A space camp?
Like an astronaut camp. I build astronaut camps all over the United States. And also museums and visitor centers. So we just finished Red Rocks.
Wow.
Pikes Peak. Space camps. We're doing this Bruce Springsteen museum in Monmouth. So
Marc does all the fun stuff.
that keeps me.
Where did you learn to do this?
At the crazy place.
Really?
Fucking A.
You learned all about space at Scientology. Don't be giving advertisements for them now.
AV.
Hell no.
AV. I probably spent $10 million of their money on doing audiovisual systems all over I was in charge of all their audiovisual systems worldwide.
I gotcha.
So, and
they didn't teach him.
They didn't teach me.
He
I
just
learned
had
it
a
there.
natural
I just happened to
love
be
for
a
that.
young kind of electronics person there, and I was like, we were using 16. They were using 16 millimeter projectors in all of their organizations in the 2000s.
In the 2000s.
16 millimeter
That's
projectors.
a real throwback, you know? It's so strange whenever I get to talk with some of you guys who were able to leave and now like you're out in the normal world doing your thing and you've adjusted and are doing well with it, because I can't even imagine, and we're going to get through your whole story today, obviously, but I can't even imagine being literally like, it's almost in between when TV was in gray and when it was in color.
Oh, 100%.
And you just go from one side to the other.
People will ask us, they'll say, oh, you remember on Seinfeld? I'll be like, I've never seen it. And they go like, well, what about Friends? And you're like, nope. I go, I had a blackout from 1990 to 2005 where I never watched a single TV show in that entire 15 years because we weren't allowed to watch TV. So it's sort of like
so many missing, like it's like a black hole of media, cultural references, media, films.
People will go, what about Simpsons? No, never seen it.
Wow.
South Park, never seen it. You know, then once we got out, we probably consumed 6 hours of media every single night.
Good for you.
After we left to catch up.
It was right in the early days of Netflix when they would literally send you DVDs of movies in the mail.
Those days.
Yeah.
Yes.
We had 9.
Very
We had a
early
9
days.
DVD account, so we had 3 movies on tap at all times.
And you're
just to catch up, because you would see, if you were driving around, you'd see the billboard for the movie.
Oh, yeah. Hey guys, 3 quick things. Number 1, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. It's a huge, huge help. Number 2, if you'd like to join my Patreon for early uncensored releases of the full episodes, you can join via the link in my description or in the pinned comment below. And number 3, if you'd like to join my clipping community for a chance to make content from the show and make money, you can join via the Discord link in my description below.
But you're like, well, we don't get to go to the movies. So
that also helped with the adjustment, because when you work like easily 16 to 24 hours a day for 15 years, when you get out into the real world and you're, 9 to 5 job, you're like, what do we do with the rest of the day now?
What do I do with myself after after dinner?
They teach you great discipline over there.
Oh yeah,
I'll give you that.
There's no lack of work ethic.
You're coming out, you see these people complain about 9 to 5s. You're like, what are you, a pussy? Like, come on.
People, when I was working at a post-production studio, and I was managing a whole bunch of visual effects artists, and they had to get 1 or 2 shots done a day. And all these guys, they're on Amazon, they're on Facebook, and I'm like, if you would just work during the day, you'd be a rock star.
There's people out there right now like, man, maybe I need Scientology in my life.
My favorite, though, was when he was at that post-production company, his boss was like, hey, man, so how do you handle stress?
Yeah.
We're like, we're good.
I'm pretty good. I can. He's like, we might have some executives from some of the channels coming in here to oversee stuff and kind of looking over your shoulder. I'll be like,
no problem.
I'm good, dude. I had a crazy short 413 guy yelling at me while I was working, so I'll be fine with this.
Now, both of you grew up in Scientology, right? Is that fair to say?
Yeah. Yeah, she was born into it, and my mom got into it when I was 6.
Okay, so let's start there, if you don't mind, Claire.
Sure.
You were born into it, so both your parents were in Scientology. What was the setup?
Yes. So I was born in England, Manchester, England. My mom got pregnant with me when she was 17. She was raised Roman Catholic. So hippie 70s, rebelled against her Roman Catholic upbringing, and her older brother got her into Scientology. And so my mom and dad were both in Scientology when I was born. I tell people this because it's just a whatever. I was named after the state of Clear. You can't make that up.
Wait, they actually named you after the state of Clear.
Mm-hmm.
They
Claire.
just changed the A. Yeah.
Well, Claire being French for clear. That's how my mom explained it to me. I was like, great, thanks. Anyhow.
Claire does sound better.
Yeah.
I will say that.
Yeah,
Sounds a
thank
lot
God.
better.
Thank God they didn't call me Clear, literally. Like, anyway. So my mom and dad were both staff at Manchester Org when I was born. By the time I was 2, my dad decided he wanted nothing more to do with Scientology. And so by the time I was 3, they divorced. And that was my first experience with Scientology's practice of disconnection at 3 years old. My dad was just poof, gone.
Do you remember that at all?
Oh, 100%. It's one of my earliest life memories is remembering that departure and thinking it was my fault.
You thought it was your fault.
Mm-hmm.
What did your mom say to you about, like, how was it explained to you? Because you don't, I would imagine, and correct me if I'm wrong here, when you're 3 years old, you still don't understand, like, the definition of the religion you're in at all.
Completely, no. Yeah, I mean, that's the shitty part about being born into something like this is there's no before. You know, if you, in cult recovery books and all that, there's always reference to the pre-cult personality. The problem being when you're born into it, you don't know anything else. You have no other frame of reference. So yeah, I was 3 and I definitely remember, like I said, thinking it was my fault. But the way my mom explained it to me, I just shut down, stopped talking. So of course, what does she do? She takes me into the Scientology organization so that they can give me a R factor, reality factor, and explain to me that my dad is an evil person and it's not my fault, but he's gone now.
To a 3-year-old, an R factor.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it sounds like you remember that pretty well too.
Yeah.
It is so hard to put myself. I was really lucky. Like I did great childhood. I wasn't born into Scientology or anything like that. No offense.
None taken. Believe me.
Both of my parents were together and all that, and like you just kind of got to do the regular kid thing. But the idea of having, like, you're almost made this vessel from the second you can have any memory of anything, and they imprint your brain with this software. Mm-hmm. And they say, this is how the world is. And you don't ever get a chance to see an environment like I might have seen or like Deef might have seen. And your earliest memories are like, oh, well, this must be normal. My dad's evil because he left. And they're going to brainwash, or you're not thinking it that way, but they're going to program me to make sure I don't do that.
Exactly. Yeah. And also too, to me, the semantics, the language of Scientology is a huge piece of the way they control and leverage you. So if you consider that as a 3-year-old, I was learning the language of Scientology before I even understood the English language.
Would you mind explaining that a little bit?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So in Scientology, the language does a lot of the work of keeping you in. So for example, if you have a critical thought, you're trained to believe that that's because you've done something bad. The only reason somebody ever leaves Scientology is because they've committed crimes, transgressions. And there's just layer upon layer upon layer of language that is unique to Scientology.
Understood.
So starting at 3, I'm learning the language of Scientology before I even understand the English language.
Right. So now I get it. You're saying like something like a transgression, you understand what that means without understanding what that might mean in the context of the English language if we were using it for another.
Totally.
Okay.
They have,
Exactly.
They call those overts. Overts and withholds. So an overt is something that you did to somebody, and a withhold is something that you did that nobody knows about. You've withheld it.
A
from
thought
people.
crime.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, basically.
And then there's a missed withhold too.
Yeah.
So like,
if I steal your coffee and then you come by and you go, hey, have you seen my coffee? And I go,
that's a missed
no,
withhold.
I haven't seen it. So you almost found out that I took your coffee, but you didn't. So that's, but they have,
didn't find out.
but they have thousands They have thousands and thousands of things like this, that when you're a kid, you go to a Scientology school, you're going to the Scientology Center at night to do courses after school. So you're always learning about all these things. One of the things that's kind of wild is you would never think that you would have had a missed withhold. But if I explain to you what a missed withhold is, and L. Ron Hubbard says, when you have a missed withhold, you display these kind of physical characteristics, or the way you talk and the way you do things, you do it a certain way if somebody's missed your withhold. So then, because you now know this, when that happens, you do it.
Oh my God.
So it's a crazy thing that if you didn't know that that's what happens, you wouldn't do anything. But because you know, oh, I did this, so now this is going to happen. So now I have to commit more overts against this person. And it's like, it's a wild thing that they train you how to be a Scientologist. And because you do that, it's easier to manage you and kind of manipulate you into thinking or doing certain things, because you now are kind of playing the game. As long as if you don't play the game, they have no control over you. They give you the deck of cards. You build the house.
That's kind of when it's funny you use the word playing the game, because while you're talking there, I was thinking like it's gamification of everything you do.
100%.
Like it's almost like, okay, in order for me to get to the next video game level, I'm going to need to make sure I have 3 lives, and therefore I need to have these 5 thoughts that equal 7 lives. It's like, what are we doing?
It's exactly like that. And it sort of that level of gamemanship. If you're just a member and you're just doing training on Scientology courses, or you're learning how to do the counseling, what they call auditing.
Yeah.
If you're just doing that as a paying member, that's level 1. Then if you become a staff member, an employee of an organization, that's like level 2. And then the final boss is the Sea Org. And if you're in the Sea Org, those are the guys that sign the billion-year contracts. Depending on where you are in the Sea Org, that's sort of the beginning. So like if you were here in New York, they have a Continental Liaison office here in New York City, right near Times Square.
I love the names.
Oh yeah, abbreviations and everything. Hubbard stole a lot, I would say 90% of the organizational structure from the military, because he used to be in the military. So he borrowed a lot of those things. But if you were here in New York,
or stole.
Yeah.
The uniforms, the
nice
language.
Yeah. We call, now the lead guy's name is Dave, so we call it Davey's Fake Navy.
Hi, Dave.
Hi, Dave.
Over the years, a lot of my friends who use nicotine products have reported having a harder time in the gym and not getting the results they were looking for. Whether it's not getting a great pump, worse recovery time, crashing during their workouts, or even catching their heart racing out of nowhere. I've heard about the same consistent issues like this for years. A lot of people use nicotine as a pre-workout thinking it's going to make their pump better. The reality is actually the complete opposite though. Nicotine is detrimental to your workouts because it's a vasoconstrictor. This means it narrows your blood vessels and restricts oxygen delivery to your muscles, which can directly counteract the pump you want to get out of your workout. It also raises cortisol, which can lead to muscle breakdown and worse recovery. And because nicotine increases your heart rate and blood pressure significantly, it can create unnecessary cardiovascular stress during workouts, which is why you need to start using Ultra Pouches, which are a true game changer for workouts and energy levels. Ultra Pouches are ideal for athletes, runners, and health-conscious people because they are 100% nicotine-free. This is because Ultra Pouches uses clinically proven nootropics and adaptogens to deliver immediate focus and smooth energy that lasts 1 to 2 hours. This is a brand trusted by top athletes, entrepreneurs, and engineers around the world, and over 90% of users see significant improvements in their energy levels, all with 0 nicotine and 0 caffeine. And Ultra Pouches also come in 5 insanely good flavors, so you got plenty of selection to choose from. Ultra is the ultimate guilt-free pouch, delivering instant focus and mental clarity without nicotine or caffeine. New customers can use code Julian today to get 15% off at takeultra.com. That link is in my description below. That's takeultra.com, link in my description below, using code Julian to get 15% off. After you purchase, they're going to ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them I sent you.
But if you're in the Continental Liaison office in New York, that's sort of the outskirts of the Sea Org bases. And then if you go to Florida, or if you go to Los Angeles, that's where they start to have higher level management Sea Org organizations. And then as high as you can go is where we worked, and that's the international base or the INT base or the gold base in Gilman Hot Springs, California.
So you're like a 33rd Street Mason.
It's that
level.
When you get there, you have to get interrogations, and sometimes these interrogations could take a year to make sure that you are in no way possible a security risk or a threat to Scientology. And then that's how you get to work at the headquarters. And if you work at the headquarters, that's behind the curtain. You see Oz and everything that goes on when you're at that property. So there's a lot of people that get out, like Chris Shelton or different people that were in the Sea organization, and then they speak about their experiences. Well, they have those experiences, but at one of these local or the Los Angeles management or Clearwater. And when you get to the international headquarters, David Miscavige, who's the current final boss of Scientology,
right?
He
all 411 of them.
He 413.
He's 413.
Yeah, I like that better than 5'1". He micromanaged every single possible thing that got done at that property, down to in the dining hall, at the urinals. He was pissed that there was piss on the tiles under the urinals. And so he ordered the cleaning guy, hey, can you get some black mats to put under there? So when the piss hits the mat, we don't have to see it. It just blends into the mat.
That's cleanliness.
But,
give him that.
But that down to that level, this is the head of this cult, international cult. And he's also the piss mat guy. So
he'd hate me in the middle of the night. I never know where it's going. God damn. Yeah, it's funny. I was just down visiting. Deef and I were both down visiting my buddy Danny Jones, who's grew up in Clearwater, not in Scientology at all. But when we were like walking around downtown Clearwater near where his studio was, just going to the store and stuff, every time we're walking, it's almost like sinister. You can see, like, we have Freedom Tower here. It's cool. It's like, oh, there it is. I'm in Lodi. I can see Freedom Tower. I'm in Bayonne. I can see Freedom Tower. I'm out in Nutley. I can see Freedom Tower. I'm in New York. I see Freedom Tower. In Clearwater, it's like, oh, whoa, there it is. Like, you see right on the line there, a little shy of the bay.
Yeah.
The big old Scientology building that looks like a castle from a B-list or D-list movie. And then it's got like the little cross on the top left, and every time you're walking you feel like you're in it's hard to explain, but you feel like you're in the middle of dystopia.
You really do.
Oh, completely. And the cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
We did a tour through there for like a fundraiser for the Aftermath Foundation, and went through each, building, and it was like 50 people, but everywhere there's cameras. You could see them. They were trained on us. They're following us everywhere. It is dystopian.
Yeah. The Aftermath, is that Leah Remini's?
So there was a show, Leah Remini, Scientology in the Aftermath.
Yeah.
After that show became very popular, people started reaching out like, hey, I want to help you guys. What can we do? And so we created the Aftermath Foundation, and we help people who are trying to escape from the Sea organization or Scientology. And that's been running now for...
It was started in December 2017. So it's been around a while now, and it's grown to where we have now education grants, online support group, help with emergency housing expenses when people are just getting out. We have a crisis line. We have billboards up in LA that say need help leaving Scientology all around the buildings there. So
you guys are like the Underground Railroad.
We really are.
Yes.
When we left in 2005, I would say almost immediately we started running into people, or people started reaching out to us like, hey, I'm here. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to. And it's like, okay, do this. Let's get you a job here. And so we were doing it from, I'd say, 2006 on. We were sort of helping people who either worked where we worked or worked at one of the other Sea organization bases. Mainly it was Sea Org members at first, because like in my case, I got into it when I was 6. I went to Scientology schools until I was 14. And then I joined the Sea Org, I think right before my 15th birthday, or right around my 15th birthday. I signed
You
a
can
bill.
join that early.
They have people. They at that time they had kids as young as 12 in the Sea organization. So you have 12-year-olds working from 8 o'clock in the morning till midnight every day, 7 days a week. On Sundays you get 3 hours off, maybe in the morning, to do your laundry and, you know, shit, shower, and shave, and then that's it. That you work full time. There's no like vacations in the Sea organization
For 12-year-olds,
for anybody.
For anybody,
But,
but
yeah.
as low as that. This is where I always ask this question when something like this that is overtly crazy is brought up.
Yeah,
How is this legal?
because
Shouldn't be.
Well, because they have this religious cloaking. So because they are a religion, that's part of their doctrine, or that's part of the teachings, that you do that. You work as much as you can. And there's the Sea organization. The Sea organization is like the fraternal order in Scientology. So these are the people who have dedicated their lives to Scientology. So they don't need possessions. They don't need a car or house or all this other stuff. And so every part of you is dedicated to expanding Scientology.
But another piece to answer the question on why are they getting away with this? These are kids that were born into Scientology, so their parents are fully in support of it, and even sometimes force them to do it, or push them to do it. Like that's the best thing they could possibly do to a parent in Scientology, and that is also a huge piece of how they get away with it.
Yeah, if you want to raise up the status levels in Scientology, you either need to become a highly trained counselor in Scientology, do a lot of the counseling yourself, so that's where you go through these operating thetan levels, or you donate a lot of money. If you don't have those things, there's one other thing you can donate, and that's your kids.
Oh my God.
So there are people that will use the fact that both of their children or all of their children or their only child is in the Sea organization as a badge of honor in the social structure of Scientology, because that basically shows, you're committed because you just gave your kid to there.
Here's what I don't understand though. If I'm a Catholic and I make my kid be an altar boy, and Father Tom starts messing around with my kid, the prosecutors come after Father Tom, as they should.
Yeah, but who's going to tell on Pastor Tom? So if you're in Scientology, this is another wild thing in Scientology. They have different levels of what they call ethics and justice in Scientology. So they have misdemeanors, and then they have what is considered crimes, and then they have what are considered high crimes. And then some of those things, but not all of them, are also then categorized as suppressive acts.
Yep.
If you go to the authorities in Scientology, it's written in their ethics and justice manual that is a crime, at least a crime. And depending on how much you expose Scientology to the government or local officials or the police or whatever, it could be classified as a high crime or a suppressive act. If you commit a suppressive act in Scientology and become a declared suppressive person, which we both are.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yes, I know.
We wear it
Best thing that
wear
ever
that as a
happened.
badge
Great.
of honor.
I'm going to get a shirt that says that. Suppressive.
Yes.
If you are a suppressive person, you are not allowed to speak with any of your family that are in Scientology, or friends or business associates. So if you're a child and you escape. So when we left the Sea organization, before we could even talk to our family that was still in Scientology, or she could contact her brothers and sisters or her parents in Scientology, they already issued a suppressive person declare on us, forbidding any of our families to ever speak to us again. So,
and then they gave us freeloader bills. So factor in, for 15 years, we were making $46 a week if we were paid at all. And so then we escape and start our lives over. And the only way we'd ever be able to speak to our family ever again is if we did A to E steps, that's what it's called, and basically went back into Scientology. But those steps would have included having to pay our freeloader bills, which cumulative between the two of us was $150,000.
So any courses or any counseling that you got when you were in the Sea Org, so that's another thing. If you're a staff member in Scientology, or if you're just a paying member, then when you do courses, you pay. If you want to do the purification rundown, sit in the sauna and sweat all day, that's $5,000. And then if you want to do this operating Thetan level, that could be up to get up to OT3 could be a few $100,000. If you're in the Sea Org, that you don't pay anything. But then the catch-22 is you're working, more than, I would say 16 hours a day is sort of like the minimum amount you'd work in the Sea organization. If you're working 6 hours, you're not doing Scientology courses and auditing and stuff, but they do have mandatory courses that Sea Org members have to do. And so the mandatory on-the-job training that we had to do, they billed us for that when we left, saying, hey, you got all that for free. If you want to talk to your mom and dad again, the first step is you got to say, yeah, I'm a criminal and here's $150K I owe you. And then at that point, they may or may not let you speak to your family again when you finish all those steps to get back into Scientology.
Yeah, another one of those steps is you have to redo all the training you ever did in Scientology, which you also have to pay for again.
It's basically siloed so that and this is maybe the most villainous thing about Scientology, but it's also the thing that they're getting screwed on right now, is that when someone finds out, oh, they're doing this or they're doing that, this is crazy, I don't want to have any part of this, and you leave Scientology and say, okay, you can never speak to any of your family that are in Scientology, because they don't want those guys to find out what's going on at the international headquarters. But then, because Hubbard wrote all this in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s, there was no internet. So now that the internet exists, when someone leaves, they can come on a podcast.
Right.
They could put up something on Facebook. They could do whatever they want. And Scientology has little or no control over how that information is disseminated and who it gets to. And so we have a small YouTube channel, and I would say likely 50% of the views that we get on our channel are from Scientologists that are still in Scientology. Because that's the other thing. You're not allowed to speak with another Scientologist derogatorily about Scientology.
But you can watch a YouTube video.
But you can watch a YouTube video and not subscribe, thank you very much, because they think Scientology is going to figure out.
Well, I don't want them getting caught. So.
Yeah.
That's the first time in the history of YouTube I'll say,
don't subscribe. Yeah. Well, so what happens is we've had people that have reached out to us that they would have like a burner iPad to watch videos on, because if they use their regular YouTube or whatever, if they start watching those things, their algorithm, it's going to serve up these things. Yeah. So if they're in the living room and their wife or their husband or their daughter or the son goes on there, it's like, hey, there's freaking suppressive people on in your feed. Yeah.
Well, funnily enough, in 2023, the Danny Masterson trial was ongoing. Yes. And during that time, Scientology was paying for ads on YouTube. So, like trying to quash exposés of their true nature. But that also had the effect of actually promoting our videos to Scientologists.
They basically were paying so much in Google ads that they hijacked the algorithm, and our stuff were going to people more because they're paying for it. So even our content had Scientology ads in it. Yeah. Because they were just like, we got to get, everybody wants to know what's going on with Scientology, because there was a lot of people going to the web going, Danny Masterson, Scientology.
Yeah. So back to your point though about the Catholic comparison. what Marc was explaining on how their policies work was a huge piece of my testimony as an expert witness in the Danny Masterson trial, was to explain how Scientology controls its members and prevents them from contacting authorities, reporting to police. Any outside involvement is strictly forbidden by the policies of the organization.
Well, do you mind if we dig into that for a second? Take a little tangent on that?
Totally. I was just going to say, there's another level to that in that instance where if you have somebody in LA and something happens at the Scientology Center or Danny Masterson does something that's untoward towards that person, when they go to the police, Scientology has somebody there. Yes. And that person goes, hey, we got one of your people over here. You might want to come over.
My dad's always valued his structure, routine, and accountability. Consistently throughout my life, he works out and his diet's pretty good. But no matter what, Father Time always catches up with you, and as you get older, it gets harder and harder to stay in good shape. Specifically, when my dad hit his 50s, he noticed that his energy was dropping, his recovery was taking longer, and his workouts just didn't hit like they used to. This went on for some years. It's like he was doing everything right, but his body just wasn't working. But thanks to my friends over at Mars Men, my dad's energy and workouts have improved remarkably. As you get older, your body is still producing the testosterone it needs, but you're just not able to use as much of it. That's because there's this protein called SHBG that locks up your testosterone, and production of SHGB increases with age. So even if your T levels look fine on paper, a lot of it is bound up and isn't actually doing anything for you. Mars Men uses clinically dosed ingredients like Tangat Ali and boron to help free up that locked up testosterone. So instead of forcing hormones into your body, Mars Men allows you to use what your body is already producing. Product is also made in the USA and third-party tested, and it comes with a 90-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk. Worst case, you don't absolutely love it, and you get your money back. But over 91% of users report higher energy levels. Thousands of guys are feeling the incredible results. Just check out the reviews on their website to see for yourself. For a limited time, our listeners are going to get 50% off for life, plus free shipping and 3 free gifts at mengotomars.com. That link is in my description below. That's mengotomars.com for 50% off and 3 free gifts at checkout. After you purchase, they're going to ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them I sent you.
And so then that's not an uncommon thing in Hollywood, because you've got studios and you've got these big conglomerates that are trying to keep their actors and talent under control. And I think there was something that even came up with the exact same division of the LA PD in regards to the guy that was running CBS, Les Moonves. So when nonsense would get up, they had somebody like, oh, hey, we got to get a call in to sort this out. So they play the game in Hollywood big time in terms of how people are getting, there you go. Captain Corey Polka.
Yeah, that's Corey Polka, former LAPD captain, allegedly leaked confidential 2017 sexual assault investigation details to former CBS CEO Les Moonves to help cover up accusations. Polka, who worked Moonves' Grammy security detail, tipped off CBS about the complaint, leading to a $30.5 million settlement and a fine for Moonves.
Yeah, so Captain Hollywood, Corey Polka, there's documents. We have on our YouTube channel, we got a treasure trove of Scientology's Spy Wings files.
Spy Wings.
Yeah, Spy Wing. The Office of Special Affairs. And this is their sort of like their dirty tricks. The Office of Special Affairs, this is crazy. The Office of Special Affairs used to be called the Guardian's Office. And L. Ron Hubbard was the Guardian. And the Guardian...
he didn't come up with it? So it changed from what he came up with?
Well, I'll tell you why.
It.
Well, I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
So the Guardian's Office is responsible for the largest infiltration in the United States government in its history. They had Scientology agents in all levels of the United States government. And their purpose was to cull all the government files to remove anything bad about Scientology and replace it with pro-Scientology documentation.
How did he get these people in there? And how did he get these people who obviously have some intelligence to be able to do, no pun intended, to be able to do the things they're doing, to be like, this guy who's written fucking 400 shit books, he's on to something.
Well, in that time period, there was this we could die any moment type of thing with all of the wars that are going on. This is 1950s when Hubbard came up with Dianetics and kind of it morphed into Scientology during the early 1950s.
The nuclear crisis.
And so it was always like, hey, the atomic bomb could be dropped any day. If we don't do something and we don't figure this out, we're doners, we're goners. So he sort of kind of used that as this is a new way we could do things. And then Hubbard was a trained hypnotist. He was into black magic and the occult.
Mm-hmm.
He made like a potpourri of fucking culty shit.
Yeah, he poached from so many people on literally all the best ways to control and manipulate people and concocted it into the nightmare that is Scientology.
And that's the other thing. He spent 86. So he spent 36 years perfecting that and tweaking it. And okay, when people leave, we got to declare them a suppressive person because then they kind of poison the rest of that area. So we got to cut them off. We got to do this. We got to do that. But in those files from the Office of Special Affairs, there's details of all of the stuff that's going on in Hollywood. Tom Cruise not doing interviews with certain networks that are running anti-Scientology programs or exposés. So they had a thing with Anderson Cooper at CNN. Hey, if you want David Miscavige to come on and you to be able to interview him, or Tom Cruise, which both of them would be a huge get for Anderson Cooper. If you run this story that's being worked on that talks about Scientology, that's done. You're not getting that interview. And they did the same thing with
And
NBC.
the story, by the way, it was Scientology, A History of Violence. That was the Anderson Cooper show.
Anderson Cooper did end up doing the show, regardless of whatever threats. And
good for him. Yeah.
But either way, they do the same thing with CBS and NBC and Fox. And so they play this little game because Tom Cruise is going to have a movie coming out this year or next year or whatever, and you're going to get eyes on your channel if he's on the this show or that show. And so it's like, if you want that, then you got to not do this over here. And they play the long game on that one. They'll string somebody along for 10 years. And then finally, I think what happened with Anderson Cooper, he's like, screw these guys. This is never going to happen. They're just holding it over us so that we don't do this other nonsense. But there's things in there about Larry King's best friend was also Tom Cruise's lawyer. And so it was a gentleman named Burt Fields. So Burt Fields is kind of playing the game with Larry, like, hey, I talked to Tom and he might be willing to come on your show or da-da-da-da-da-da, but you guys got to not do this thing that you were going to do on Scientology. So it's I mean, even in our case, we had a lawsuit where we filed against Scientology for not being paid.
Human labor law violations, human trafficking, forced abortion. Multiple.
And in that case, the lawyer for David Miscavige's organization, which is called Religious Technology Center. They manage everything in Scientology.
Hey guys, if you haven't already subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. It's a huge, huge help. Thank you.
The lawyer, their chief lawyer, after the case was done and we lost on appeal and all these different things happened, Scientology's lawyer became a California Supreme Court judge, Marc Marmoreau. He became a California.
Let's pull this guy up. Nice attention.
He's the guy that did our depositions
in that case. Yeah. And so you just, it's wild that they've got people in all these different places where they need them. And that was sort of the Guardian's office.
Marc.
There you go. That's him. Yeah. And by the way, on the lawsuit, at the time, there was an FBI investigation going on that Marc and I were both literally confidential informants for. And so our lawyers decided to whittle down our causes of action and basically focus on human trafficking charges. And in the end, during the appeal and everything else, they said, well, you can't prove human trafficking because even though we were in Scientology as teenagers, we consented allegedly. But the judge said in the final ruling that had we pursued other causes of action such as assault and battery, false imprisonment, things like that, we may have fared differently.
And there was another case that was going on at the same time where they did do that, and Scientology ended up writing those guys a check. So it's sort of and now they've got this situation where anyone who sues Scientology, they have this system that says, well, listen, we're a religion, so the courts can't get involved with anything that we're doing. But what we do have is we have our own ethics and justice manuals, and we can work out an arbitration. And so the courts are quick to say, oh, great, perfect. So here's this case. It's remanded to arbitration with Scientology.
Yeah, with Marc.
So no, but it's not. There's I'm
literally the judge. This is an elaborate kangaroo court that Scientology has now set up in recent years after we escaped and after our lawsuit, to where if someone brings a lawsuit to the judge, then the judge will say, no, you need to go back to your abuser and go through their arbitration process. Like Valerie Haney is one of these people that's currently going through arbitration. She literally had to escape in the trunk of a car from the headquarters where we worked. And now she's been sent back to her abuser for arbitration. It's the biggest joke.
How do they get away with it?
Well, what they do is all of the early enrollment forms in Scientology, you're signing a contract to be in Scientology.
Yeah, but if you're 12, how can you consent? If you're 15, how can you consent?
Because it's your religion, and we can't. And as the court, we can't say that you can't. They're basically, the way Scientology spins it is it's your right to not have to be messed with by the outside world if you're in Scientology, and we can't violate your rights. So even if you're a victim, hey, it's not illegal to do something really fucking stupid. So we got nothing we can do for you. You signed up for it, and you signed every time you do a course or every time you start some training somewhere or some counseling somewhere, you're signing at something. And at the bottom of that, it says, if shit goes sideways, you agree to do arbitration. You're not suing us.
This is also the other problem, too, when it comes to the rest of society. And, it's not like everyone sits and listens to a podcast where we talk about Scientology and I learn about it. I didn't ever known that much about Scientology if Going Clear hadn't come out, you know, and stuff like that. So when you see a Scientologist, an active Scientologist, I don't know, walk into a courtroom or something like that, they look normal. They're wearing normal clothes, maybe from Joseph A. Bank or somewhere else that looks like Joseph A. Bank, whatever. And, they look like regular Joe from society. Whereas if it was, this is an extreme example, but you think like cult mindset and just like pure where it is. Let's say you're like an uncontacted tribe somewhere. If they walk in, you're like, okay, well, you're from a different planet than we are, obviously. Point being, you get to, as a Scientologist, you get to blend in when they need you to blend in. But your entire life is what we talked about at the beginning, where you're on the gray side of TV and everyone else is out in color. But they almost like wire you up to be able to be like, all right, we're going to turn you on right now. Go out there, put on a show, come right back in 2 hours. Yep. And you do, and people do it.
Yeah, and in Scientology, you sort of learn that you're better than everyone else.
Better.
They
tell you that.
You're everyone else around you are Homo sapiens. You're Homo novus. You're another level above everybody else. And
people not in Scientology, Hubbard had a word for that. Which is actually, come to find out, a racial slur.
Yeah, we actually, by the way, we have to bleep that because it gets videos demonetized on YouTube.
Oh,
I swear to God.
I think I want to say in England and Australia that's like
a racial slur.
Yeah, that's like the N-word.
But Hubbard defines it as standing for wealthy Oriental gentleman. And it just means somebody who.
We gotta bleep that too.
I thought it was worldly
It's
oriented.
both. There's two different versions.
Not oriental, worldly oriented. Anyway, but they teach you that Scientology are the only people who have the answers in the universe, not on this planet, in the universe, to be able to do things so that we can succeed as a society.
Yeah.
And so
Hubbard also calls somebody just getting into Scientology raw meat, and they need to you have to find their ruin, which is what Scientology recruit techniques are based on, is literally finding the person's ruin and then presenting like, oh, Scientology has the answers to that.
Yeah. I like to say, like, if you have a problem with relationships and you end up doing a stress test in Times Square, or you read some kind of pamphlet on Scientology and they say, you know, we can help you with relationships. So you go in there and they go, yeah, we've got a course on that. It's a $50 course. You come in, you do it in a day or two, and you do that course. Well, when you're done with that course, you're thinking, I think I might be on the right track here with getting my relationship sorted out. But as soon as you do that, they go like, hey, you should do the purification rundown, because you have drugs in your body and there's residues and they can kind of kick in whenever. And you go, yeah, I'll do that. Oh, well, that's $2,000 or $5,000. And then 30 years later, you've given Scientology $5 million and you just went through your third divorce. Oh. And you only showed up there to sort out the relationships. But when every course you do in Scientology, you find 10 more problems you didn't even know you had, because they're laying out the path for you so that you're the one that's like, oh, I got to do the next thing, or I got to do this, or I still got to sort out my relationships. And until I get to they'll say like, well, you know, some of these things are going to be addressed on the operating thetan levels. So now you've got your eye on the prize. Okay, now I got to get through all this lower stuff so that I can get to the higher levels of Scientology. And the path in Scientology is charted out. It's called the Bridge to Total Freedom. And it has the counseling side of Scientology, and then it has the training on how to do the counseling in Scientology.
You just got to do slavery on the way.
Yeah. Well, you're supposed to basically work your way up both sides of this bridge to total freedom in Scientology. And what they have right now is, it says it goes up to
OT15.
Operating thetan level 15. But in fact, L. Ron Hubbard never wrote 9 through 15. So Scientology are still saying this is coming, but it ain't. But even the people that get to OT level 8, which is the final level they have right now, they're getting to that level and they're going, this is crazy. I'm still shitty at relationships. I made it all the way to the top, and I'm still a bag of shit in the girlfriend department. And so they have this crisis. People have this crisis of faith when they say you're going to solve this on this level, and then they get to that level and they go, that was nothing. That was crazy. I just learned about space aliens on OT3. And it's like, and you're not allowed to talk to anybody about these upper levels.
Which is a critical piece, because it's not like you'd ever have a conversation like, hey, can you believe what you just read on OT3? Like, what's up with that? That never happens. So Scientologists are forbidden even from comparing notes with each other, even if they've
husband
both
and
done
wife.
the OT levels. Yeah, like I did the OT levels, never told Marc. In fact, after we escaped and he was watching South Park, I remember it like it was yesterday. He's like, wait, is this for real? This is what's on OT3? And I was like, yeah.
I found about the space aliens in Scientology from South Park.
Yes.
And when I was watching it.
And that was when you told him.
Well, no, I asked her. I said, is this really what it is? She had done those. And she goes, yeah, pretty much. And I was just like, and I was like, my mind is blown. You knew that there were body thetans and Lord Xenu and all this other stuff. And you were like, yep, checks out.
No, I didn't say that. But the other hilarious part about that was he was like, okay, I'm going to do a test, because in Scientology, they believe that if you are exposed to the upper levels before you're ready, then you could die from pneumonia. So Marc's
you will die from pneumonia.
Yeah. So Marc's like, okay, I'm going to do a test. I'm going to read all the OT levels. So if I'm dead tomorrow morning, then hey, maybe there's something to it.
Yeah, that is another kind of in their armor, which is you can log onto the internet and you can pretty much read all of those confidential upper levels in Scientology. They've been leaked.
Yeah, they didn't plan this in the 50s.
They didn't plan that.
Nope.
So when I read that, I read all of them. I read from all the way to the bottom, all the way to OTA. I read everything in one sitting.
Yeah.
So I was like, if I'm going to die, it's going to be tomorrow. It's going to happen now because I've done all this stuff. And so when I woke up in the morning, I went, not even a sniffle. And that literally is how I think between the South Park and then realizing that nothing happened. I did all of the things that they said, you cannot do this. You will die. And then I did it. And then I was like, oh my God, it's all bullshit. The whole fucking thing is bullshit.
So many of my friends like to finally actually realize that though.
Well, in my case, I was 31 years old when that happened. So
what year?
It was in 2005.
Okay.
So I was sort of like, it's a double-edged sword because if I wasn't there, then I wouldn't have met Claire and I wouldn't have my 3 boys. And so it's like, I kind of got to where I am now on this path. And I don't think I would have got here on this path if I didn't do it the way I did. Who knows? Woulda, coulda, shoulda. But at the same point, I go, but I was exposed to enough crazy in there that I think I can undo this if I tell everybody all the stuff that I knew. And so that's why I ended up writing the book, Blown for Good, Behind the Iron Curtain of Scientology.
It's a great name, by the way.
Yeah. Well, that place is like behind the Iron Curtain.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So that when I got out and started learning about all these other things that were happening in the world and what had happened in the world, the only thing that I sort of was like, this is the most like this was the Iron Curtain.
Mm.
So I was like, the defection, the spy kind of network, the tattletale culture, like if I said I'm thinking of leaving, 99% she would write a report on me and file it and say, hey, my husband's thinking of doing this. That's like Germany days
100%.
nonsense. So like you can't.
But that's how you're wired.
Yeah, your children
Completely.
could rat you out. Your spouse could rat, your parents could rat you out. So you have all these people. If you act the fool or do anything bad about Scientology and anybody in Scientology is around, the penalty in Scientology for not reporting that is you are charged with the same crime of the person that you didn't report. So if somebody's leaking confidential materials on the internet and they get declared a suppressive person, and then they find out that you knew he was doing that, you also get declared a suppressive just for not reporting it. Even if you didn't do anything, you just saw that he had something on his computer. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't regret that I was there because there's
you
nothing.
have a choice.
Yeah, but also there's nothing I can do.
Right.
So to even think about, what if I did this or what, it's sort of,
Impossible.
It's pointless and unproductive. But if I say, well, there's not the other thing that Scientology don't really account for is if you saw something that was illegal or that something was bad and they make you sign NDAs and they make you do all this, but it's not illegal to tell somebody about something illegal. An NDA can't protect from that.
Right.
So if I say, well, he killed this guy, you say, oh, you signed an NDA, you said you wouldn't say anything that happened there. It'd be like, yeah, but that's a crime. So
Not in our church.
Yeah. So, but yeah, exactly. Not in our church. But so I think for a lot of people that are in Scientology, they want to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And they know that it's bullshit. They know that there's bad things.
A lot of people in there.
A lot of people in Scientology know they themselves have been wronged. They've seen one of their family members be wronged, or their friends or their business got screwed over by Scientology. And they want to leave.
Quick question. I'm sorry to cut you off. I just got to ask this. Do you think the percentage of people now that wants to leave is way higher than it was in, say, the 90s because of the internet alone?
100%.
Okay.
Absolutely.
100%. Because they're getting they're hearing, when you're in Scientologies, there's a pretty proliferant whisper web. People are like, oh, do you hear what happened to Billy Bob? You know, and you go like, I don't know. Well, then you go on the internet and there's some fucking Billy Bob fucking telling this goddamn story. So then you go like, well, I'm pretty much sure I know what happened to Billy Bob. So, but they know that happened they saw that, what he said, and they said, that same thing happened to my sister's boyfriend. Yeah. You know, the same crazy stuff. So, but if their family are still in there, you can't really go to your family and say, hey, this is not for me. I got to go. Yeah. Then you're never going to talk to your family again. So there's this kind of thing where I don't want to go. And they have a term in Scientology called under the radar. So if you're one of these people that doesn't believe anymore and you're not giving them money, you're not going to their events, you're not doing anything, you're just flying under the radar. So,
and there are so many people
you don't say
like
anything bad. You talk to all your family and you, yeah, awesome. Good job on whatever you're doing in Scientology. But it's like play along to stay along.
Is this more the people though who like aren't in the Sea Org? They're the people that live out in regular society?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. If you're in the Sea Org,
like one of those people that was under the radar is somebody that I don't actually even know the person's name, but they knew me when I was a teenager and they know my family, and they're like, they're so mad that my family disconnected from us and have never met my sons and all this. But this person paid for like 200 copies of Marc's book and had us send them to like every single politician in California, the law enforcement, like literally just sent it to everybody.
Wow.
The other thing is that when you are in there and you want to leave, if you like do anything suspicious or you really have to, because they've taught you that about the missed withhold and you talking to people online about how bad Scientology is, that's like forbidden in Scientology. So, but if you start acting weird around your Scientology family members, then they're going to be like,
get him out.
Miss Withhold, this guy's doing something crazy over there. We had a family, I think it was the dad who wrote in to us on YouTube or on our website or something. And he said, I want to thank you for your book because I bought it and read it. My wife and my 2 kids are all in Scientology. And I wanted to sit down with them and just tell them, listen, this guy used to work at the headquarters of Scientology, and I think they're doing bad stuff over there, da-da-da-da-da. When he sat down with the family and told it, his wife had already read the book on her Kindle, and the kids had already been looking all over the internet. So when he went there to basically, he's going to lose his family maybe by making this confession. And they're all like, hey.
Me too.
Yeah, me too. We're all in the same boat. The whole family was already under the radar, but none of the other family members knew that because they're not allowed to talk about it. So that I would say that there's right now, there's not really more than 20 or 30,000 Scientologists in the world that are practicing giving money to Scientology. I would say even of those people, there's probably 50% of them that have had thoughts about leaving or want to leave, but they can't because they work for a Scientology company or it's just your whole life is this web of Scientology nonsense.
How many of them would you say live in Clearwater? Half of them or?
I say probably like 20-30% live in Clearwater, 20-30% live in Los Angeles, and then everybody else is just
all over
spreckled.
So you guys said you were big movie people when you came out. You watched The Departed?
Oh, 100%.
All right, so you remember the scene where he's like, "You think he's a cop?"
Yeah.
Like that was me and Deef in Clearwater last week, standing in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Just what? Like, you think that's a Scientologist? Deef's like, "Nah." $10 says, "Nah."
Well, in Clearwater, for a long time, because they have hundreds of properties in downtown Clearwater. Hundreds.
Yeah, that's why everything's so goddamn cheap.
Yeah, and also the streets are empty.
Yeah.
There's nobody walking around.
Yeah, it felt like a True Detective episode.
Yeah.
In some places.
It's kind of wild that there's all this, and there's thousands of people in those buildings, but you never see them. They would bus people from building to building so that the Sea Org members, they don't get caught like out on their own. And they don't encounter somebody, because I want to say in the late 90s, early 2000s, there was a lot of activists and protesters that are holding signs saying like, "Free Xenu," let your body thetans out, or whatever.
Or your family misses you.
Yeah. It's like drawing a picture of Muhammad, effectively.
Yeah. And so they don't want one of these random Sea Org members to see that and then go, "What are body thetans? Who's Lord Xenu?" So they would bus them from location to location. So, and I think for the most part, they still do that between where they live and where they work. But every once in a while, you'll catch we were there last year sometime. We were there and we had gone there's a huge park right on the bay. And they built this outdoor pavilion.
It's a Coachman Memorial Park.
Yeah.
I was getting worried it was the park we were at first. I was like, wait a minute.
But when we were at that park, we saw a few Sea Org members walking in between their buildings. They cut through the park to go.
Did they look at you?
They did.
Yeah, but they didn't know.
They did a double take.
They don't know who we are.
Yeah, no.
Maybe if there was somebody
them,
that used to be at the headquarters that was now in Clearwater.
They don't know who you are?
No.
Only that's the other thing.
We've been out for, 21 years.
No, but like so high profile.
No, because they're not allowed to look at any of that. The Sea Org members, they don't have really internet access or TV, or we even had when we were at the base, the international headquarters, when you get mail, it's opened before you get it. They open your mail. Mm-hmm. So if your mom's writing to you saying, "Hey, I think you need to get the hell out of there, shit's going to hit the fan."
Trash.
They just shred that, and then they make a note.
Same for outgoing mail too, by the way. You want to write to your mom, even if your mom's a Scientologist, it has to be read and checked before you send it.
You give them the letter in an open envelope. They read it, and then they seal it and mail it for you.
This is what was killing me when I was talking with Jenna Miscavige. She was here. I was telling you before, she was here July 2024. We put out a couple months later for episode 235. But she grew up in that. And, we got into a really good flow. I was so impressed with her and like how somehow she's able to have somewhat of a normal life now, which is like, I can't even fathom that based on her whole family background and everything. But I'm sitting here and I'm like, all right, you're talking like a normal person. You're out in the normal world now, but you spent 21 years completely behind a wall, like actually totally behind a wall. Pre-internet, a lot of it. Did you know who the president was? Like when you were in there, what kind of music did you think existed? Do you know what a bass line sounded like? I would start asking her these questions, and she'd be like, "Oh no, that's really interesting." Like, yeah, I knew there was this guy at some point, like Bill Clinton, but I'm like, what was he to you?
Yeah.
And she's like, he was just this thing in this other world.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. So I think it was in the late 90s. There was a situation where David Miscavige went around to people at the base, Sea Org members, and said, "Who's the president?" And they literally did not know. Yeah, they did not know the answer to it.
Because there was such a media blackout and we weren't getting any form of anything. There is no way to know who the president is.
Yeah. So at that time, David Miscavige's
no
handling was to literally make every single staff member at that base learn who's the president of the U.S., who's the governor of California,
who's the prime
minister.
Oh
yeah,
God.
Literally. That was an order that David Miscavige gave, was everybody at this property needs to be told who the president of the United States is.
Another crazy thing.
What about like In Sync? You got to know who they are too. Or
no, we did have music. We did have music.
Yeah.
You could go to Walmart on the weekend and buy a CD if you were balling. If you had some cash on you still left.
You get your Britney Spears CD and you're like, oh, okay, all right, yeah.
when Bill Clinton was actually very cozy with Scientology. And when
that's a strange word to use about Bill Clinton.
Well, I'll say when they got their tax exemption, it was in 1993 when Scientology received tax exemption from the IRS. Where they had a huge event at the LA Sports Arena, and the war is over. We're good to go. We're legit now. The accountants said we're a religion, and
that was literally the line David Miscavige used. The war is over.
And they put up a huge graphic on all the screens in the sports arena, and it was a congratulations. This is many years in the making. Bill Clinton. To Scientologists. Scientologists were like, yeah. Well, now this is another great. I got to tell this one last Bill Clinton story because it is.
I love Bill Clinton stories.
It is.
This is a good one.
Encapsulates the essence of David Miscavige. So Oprah was throwing a party for, I think it was Missy Elliott, and John Travolta's there, and Oprah, all the muckety mucks that Oprah knows are all at this party for Missy Elliott. And David Miscavige gets to go. He goes to this thing through John or through Tom or whoever, Tom Cruise. And he goes to the party, And it was kind of all around the international headquarters. Like, oh, there was a big party, all the celebrities and all the Scientology celebrities were there, but also regular celebrities. And David Miscavige was there rubbing elbows with everybody. And we heard that he met Bill Clinton. Anyway, so then David Miscavige is in the elevator in Los Angeles at one of their big buildings down there. And a Sea Org member goes, "Sir, is it true you met Bill Clinton?" David Miscavige goes, "No, he met me." That's David Miscavige, baby. That's
my buddy Matt Cox, who I was also visiting when I was down there in the Tampa area. You ever hear him?
No.
He's got a big show online, totally reformed, but he was like the world's greatest mortgage fraudster for about a 6-year period. Got sentenced to 26, did 13, a lot of ratting happened to make that happen. But
he just got out recently.
Like 7 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's big on YouTube now. Like I said, very reformed. But, Matt's really short. He's like 5'3". And he always says, he's like, never trust us. I'm like, what do you mean trust us? And he goes, short people like me want to run the world.
Oh.
And I was like, listen, I got a lot of short king friends out there. I ain't calling anybody out or anything, but there is something to it when a guy is literally like that.
Yeah, historically, right? Napoleon, blah, blah.
And he's got that
many
Napoleon
examples.
complex, right?
Yeah.
And he was always like, he is it's Captain David Miscavige.
Captain, that's right.
He is the head of the Sea Organization. And so when we were at the international headquarters, we all wore uniforms, but he didn't. He didn't wear a uniform. But then on the weekends, we would dress in civilian clothes. And on the weekends, when everyone there dressed in civilian clothes, he dressed in his uniform. And somebody said something or did something, and then he says, "Do you know why when you guys wear your uniforms, I'm not wearing a uniform, and when you're wearing civilian clothes, I'm wearing my uniform? Because I'm not you. I'm not like you.
There it is.
I'm up here."
Yep.
And even Tom Cruise does this thing where he goes, "It's Tom Cruise, David Miscavige, L. Ron Hubbard." That's the hierarchy of the world.
He says that to people.
100%. Tom Cruise thinks David Miscavige is the bee's knees. He wants to be like Tom Cruise. And Tom Cruise wants to be like David Miscavige. Mm-hmm. And David Miscavige wants Tom Cruise to be like David Miscavige. So they have...
Have you seen that video of Tom Cruise in the black turtleneck?
In the black?
He's saying only Scientology can help if there's an accident.
Please find this.
Oh my gosh. Leaked. Where he says if there's an accident, Scientologists are the only ones who can help.
Wait, is this the leak from the film set?
No,
No.
this is
No, because that's audio only.
This is
I
from.
think.
Oh yeah, no,
it's
that's
a video.
recent.
It was a video that was played at a Scientology event
in 2004.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking the old Matt Lauer. Stop being glib.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
This is
Yeah.
You
Knock it
actually
off.
cooked a little bit
What-
on that one.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll give it. If you don't see the video, that means it was copyrighted, so we took it out. We'll react to it afterwards. But let's take a look at this. So this is from a while ago.
We'll see which one
Yeah.
this is.
Oh, so Scientology might copyright us.
Yeah.
Oh
Here you
yeah,
go.
this is
Yeah,
it.
this is it.
Scientologist.
I have seen this.
The reviews
Yeah.
for his latest screen
Yeah.
appearance have been awful.
I think it's a privilege to call yourself a Scientologist.
Yes, 100%.
This is Tom Cruise in a film leaked to the internet in praise of Scientology, what it has done for him, and what it can do for you.
We are the authorities on getting people off drugs. We are the authorities on the mind. We are the authorities on improving conditions. Criminal. We can.
This is a Seer member doing this
happiness.
riff
We can bring
based off
peace,
of the Limp Bizkit version.
and unite cultures.
Proud boast indeed, but then the Mission Impossible star has long been vocal about
Yeah,
his
now
support
this is
for
just
the
all gossip
controversial
stuff.
religion,
Okay.
regarded
Anyway,
by many
but
as a cult.
so when
You
that
get the idea, though.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
So when that video was played in October of 2004 for Scientologists. So that video was never supposed to leave the Scientology bubble. But when you're a Scientologist and Tom Cruise is talking in Scientologies to you, then you're like, oh, he really 100% is a Scientologist.
Yeah.
For many years in the 90s and even the early 2000s, it was like, this guy never talks about Scientology to anybody. And when he divorced Nicole, it went hardcore Scientology.
That's also what's so strange too, because very famously, as everyone seems to know now, movie that's gotten attention more than it did when it came out is Eyes Wide Shut, which they did together in 1999, which, you know, it's not Scientology, but it's a fucking, you know, giant elite sex cult. And you wonder how someone like that could participate in doing a film that serious and that viscerally, I might say, with his own wife, by the way, for whatever it was, a 6-month shoot and all that and all the build up to it. And then not be able to be like, huh, you know what?
Well,
There's some patterns there.
It's funny that you say that because during that time period within Scientology, David Miscavige had 2 people in their camp. Nicole's personal assistant was a Scientologist reporting to David Miscavige, and Tom Cruise's personal assistant was a Scientologist reporting to David Miscavige, and they were married. Both of the assistants were married. It was Andrea Dovin
And Michael Dovin.
and Michael Dovin. And they worked, and they have credits on all the films that Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman did that time.
And
an
Michael
assistant.
and Andrea were reporting on Tom and Nicole to Scientology literally weekly.
Weekly.
And during that time, they knew that Tom was pulling away from Scientology. And somehow, some way, I like to joke about this because it's kind of crazy, but when Nicole did a movie called Moulin Rouge with Ewan McGregor, and between the info that Scientology was getting from the assistants, it appeared that there may be something happening there on the Moulin Rouge thing. And Tom's pulling away. Nicole's off doing whatever she's doing. At the international headquarters, we were told by David Miscavige that Tom Cruise cannot have children, period. That's why they adopted 2 kids. Okay, so
Whether that's true or not.
whether
is
that's
not the
true or
point.
not.
That's what David Miscavige told the staff
Okay.
at the
and
headquarters.
that was also something that was maybe along the lines of Tom Cruise ruin, that he can't have kids. So they adopt some kids. Him and Nicole adopt 2 kids. And then this thing happens on Moulin Rouge, and it's sort of like, there's something happening there. But then Scientology finds out that Nicole had a miscarriage. So they basically saw an opportunity to say, hey, listen, the reason all the craziness is happening in your life and everything is because you're connected to a suppressive person. And that's Nicole. And so,
Because she had a miscarriage.
well, no, just because they weren't in Scientology anymore, really doing Scientology. And then whatever's happening in his life is happening in his life. And they basically say, and he knows about, or he's made aware of the miscarriage. And so then they immediately get a divorce. And she never says anything. It's all wrapped up with the lawyers. It's all good. There's nothing to do. So whether or not that is what happened, that's what Scientology gleaned and then kind of worked him over with. And then as soon as they split, he became 100% back in Scientology.
So that is the psychology that's fascinating to me when you look at a bona fide global superstar like Tom Cruise. So it's huge for Scientology to be able to have him and say he's one of our own, because the marketing obviously is like, oh, Tom Cruise is a Scientologist. But it's also, he's just like everyone else out there. He has his insecurities. He has a big ego, not necessarily like everyone else, but he has that going for him. And so you catch him after a divorce with something like this, to where you really pull him into the inner sanctum when he's vulnerable and he's probably feeling insecure. And you make this guy who, even though we all look at him, even back then, he was already very much a bona fide global superstar, you make him realize that he's still at the mercy of people deciding whether or not he gets to be in a movie or not. So you play, I'm just guessing here, you play on that insecurity to be like, yo, in Scientology time, just do what we tell you to do at the top. But you're going to be the guy. You get to be the star. You get to be the person that all the lights and cameras are on. You don't have to try out for roles or whatever. And it makes him feel like, this is a bad way to put it, but like a dwarf among midgets in that kind of place right there, to the point that he actually believes he's a giant.
Yeah. And also, him and Dave were hanging out a lot after the divorce. And even to the point where, I mean, this story came out in Vanity Fair years and years ago, but when we were still at the property in 2004, I worked for the production arm, the media production arm of Scientology. So making videos, putting on these events where you see Tom Cruise talking, shooting that video, which that has a crazy story, that video that got shot.
Wait, did you shoot that?
No, well, Golden Era Productions shot that video. Okay. Yeah, where I worked. I didn't shoot it personally, but that
we were both there when that
video was made 3 times.
Oh, you were there in the room?
Well, no, yeah, we were in the editing bays, and
I worked on
all the
video
footage.
editing in the video editing bay while that was being put together.
The video, that whole video that plays, David Miscavige spent days massaging every second, and when the cut and when the music comes in and all that for that video. But there was 2 videos before that when Golden Era Productions set out to shoot, they said, basically every year at the International Association of Scientologists event in England in October, they give out these awards that are called the Freedom Medal Awards. And it's basically hotshot Scientologists that are moving and shaking and getting shit done. So they give these guys what's called an IAS Freedom Medal. And it's just a gold medal like this, and it looks like an Olympic medal.
I think wasn't Tom Cruise wearing one of those in the leaked videos?
He got like a Flava Flav one. It was like a giant one.
Everyone, normal people got the Freedom Medal. He got the Freedom Medal of Valor.
Yeah, which I don't think anyone else has ever been awarded.
No,
he does do all his own stunts.
He does, yeah. So
and that is really. Listen, I fuck with Tom Cruise movies. You know.
So
he's not the man.
When we were basically told, hey, Tom Cruise is going to get a Freedom Medal this year, and we would normally have 3 winners. They basically said those guys can get their award next year. The only person who's getting an award is Tom, and we're going to do this big long video. We're going to do we're going to really, really spruce it up for him. And so they went, and Golden Era Productions arranged, through, I guess, some of Tom's people that he worked with or whatever, to interview Steven Spielberg, Will Smith, whoever had worked with Tom in the industry, to find out what he's like. And so all these interviews were being shot, and then David Miscavige caught wind of it, and he was like, what are you doing? Who cares what celebrities think about Tom Cruise. This is a Scientology event, and we want this to be all about Scientology. Not that he does his own stunts, not that he has a shitter trailer that's 20 feet long when he shows up to the set, you know. So then a second video was started, and that was Jenna Elfman, Bodie Elfman,
Erica Christensen,
all the Scientology celebrities talking about how awesome Tom Cruise. And then Dave Miscavige again, he's like, who gives a shit about these guys? They don't do fuck all in Scientology. They're useless to us as a celebrity. They're doing Tide commercials. Come on. They're not the level. They're not Tom Cruise level celebrities. So then he said, and you can kind of, if you watch the video again, David Miscavige basically gives the essence of the video going, we want to know about who Tom Cruise is as a Scientologist. And the only person who can tell us how awesome Tom Cruise is Tom Cruise. So then that video became...
Thus the video was born.
That video, it became shooting these 30 people to just, no, we just need to shoot this one dude right here that the video's about. And so that's how that video came. It was a very small crew. Cameraman, sound guy, makeup girl, maybe a director. That's it. 4 people with Tom in a chair. That's it. And a turtleneck, a nice black turtleneck.
Have you ever seen the guy, I don't know his name, maybe you'll know it, Deef, the dude on Instagram who takes really bad viral videos, like when people say or do really stupid shit, and like they play the video and then it cuts to him with the film crew back there, like, they're like taking it off. Like
what is going
on?
on?
Need him, like I need blood in my veins to do that Tom Cruise video.
It would be
wearing
amazing.
A Scientology shirt, please. If you see this guy that does those videos, do that one.
My favorite was when that video came out, there was a bunch of parody videos that were also coming out. There was a movie they made, like it was called like The Fly or something like that, and it had a Tom Cruise lookalike, and he goes, "Oh no, I can eat planets." You know, he's wearing a black turtleneck in the same thing. He's like, yeah, it's like in the video he says it's like KSW, keeping Scientology working, and this guy's like, it's like KFC, you got to get that bucket, get that shit, you know. And then I think Jerry O'Connell did a spoof of that video. So we had a lot of fun when that came out. It was like, oh yeah, this is what we want to do. We want to basically show like Tom Cruise, when he's on the movie set, he ain't talking Scientology anything. But when he gets in the room with the Scientologists, he pours it on.
Right.
And the whole reason for that event, the International Association of Scientology event, is it's a fundraising event. So Tom Cruise is going, hey, I'm doing this. I'm giving this money. I'm doing this. I'm talking about Scientology everywhere. And I'm getting people into Scientology. What are you doing as a Scientologist? And he's like, basically at the end of the video, where the interview, he goes up on stage and David Miscavige gives him the medal of the Freedom Medal of Valor medal. And then they shake hands and then they salute L. Ron Hubbard on the stage. And Tom Cruise in that acceptance speech just blows smoke up Dave's ass about how awesome he is. Like literally, thank you, sir. I've met the leaders of leaders and you are among the top of the, you know, and so.
And meanwhile, by the way, David Miscavige was beating up the top executives of Scientology at the headquarters. And not only that, but he was saying Tom Cruise offered to come down here
and kick your asses.
And kick you guys' asses to get your ethics in.
Yeah. So Dave was basically telling Tom, this is Dave's version. We don't actually know if he did that or if Tom Cruise actually, because this is coming from Dave. But he goes, yeah, I told Tom about all the bullshit I'm dealing with you guys. And he said, if we wanted it, he'd come up here and kick your asses for it. and you're just like, you're a Sea Org member. Okay. You've been in the Sea Org maybe 20, 30
Please
years.
don't kick my ass, Tom Cruise.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, Xenu.
But you've been in this, and that's when David Miscavige said that thing. He says, it's Tom Cruise, it's me, and Ella Rage.
Oh my God.
And but you've been a Sea Org member for 20, 30 years. And you're like, David Miscavige said Tom Cruise is the most dedicated Scientologist I've ever met. And you're like, bitch, I gave you 15 years so far. How can this guy be the guy now? He just showed up.
Yeah.
But yeah, so again, when Tom Cruise does something stupid or silly like that, then it's not good for him to be a Scientologist.
Right.
So
And they're the ones that
liability at that
directed
point.
the video, though.
Yeah.
too.
Exactly.
So it goes
But
both
the
ways.
video was not the problem. It was that it was leaked to the internet.
Yeah,
Right.
it was.
In David Miscavige's eyes, that's the perfect video
Yeah.
because he made it.
And then the savageness of the crowds can see it, and it's like, oh,
Exactly.
your limp biscuit wasn't very good.
And also, people were like, "Who edited this thing?" And you're like, "David Miscavige
Yeah.
edited this thing down to every frame."
sure about
it was
that?
like,
It wasn't you.
no, I didn't edit it
No, David Miscavige even recorded
I believe
the voiceover.
for the guy to match.
Yeah.
So he recorded the voiceover that guy's reading and then told that guy, listen to me in your ears when you read this so you can make it the way I want it to be. But this is
Hey, listen, he has a vision.
Yeah.
He's got a vision.
Well,
I'll
Yeah.
give him that.
I'll tell you one other thing that David Miscavige made that he thought was awesome that didn't turn out that way. Little old film called Battlefield Earth.
Oh, yes. Did we talk about this with Marc Bunker? I think so.
When that film was being made, David Miscavige was like the ghost producer of that movie. So he saw the costumes. He saw, who we hired for special
He was
effects.
watching the footage daily.
He was seeing the dailies from...
This is the one with Travolta?
Yes.
That's
so-
based on the book Battlefield Earth by L. Ron Hubbard.
And so when that movie was done, and he would tell us all the time, we're seeing this, and we're doing this. And we got one of the guys that worked on Star Wars is doing the effects on this, and they did Independence Day and, whatever it was. And it's like, this is his baby. This is Dave Miscavige's baby. When that movie is done, he tells us this movie is the best movie ever made. And we all had to go see this movie. If you were a Sea Org member at the base, they gave us money and they bussed us to the nearest AMC movie theater. And we had to watch it 3 times because they wanted to get the ticket sales.
What's that meme where they're holding the guy's eyes open?
Clockwork Orange.
Yes, 100%. Oh
I
my
snuck
gosh.
out on the second
I saw it.
playing it.
I couldn't sneak out, but I slept through all 3 showings of it.
I don't. If I remember correctly, if it was Marc Bunker that brought it up, I'm pretty sure when it got brought up on the podcast, if this is coming back to me right, I had never seen any of this before. And then afterward, like we watched like a scene of it. Then afterwards, I went and watched the scene. I'm like, I can't believe this is real.
Yeah.
Like if SNL did this, you'd be like, all right, guys,
Yeah.
it's a little too much.
So
Right.
then when that came out, panned by everybody as one, I think it won. I think it won the Raspberry for like
The worst movie of the
film
year.
ever,
Yeah.
and John Travolta won as worst actor ever.
Had
But-
Forrest Whitaker in it too.
Yeah, and Barry Pepper. Yeah, so the director of that was Roger Christian. And
Barry Pepper's a Scientologist, right?
no,
No.
They were trying to get him in.
They were trying
to
but
get him in. Okay.
They were also trying to get Forrest
Sorry,
Whitaker
Barry.
in.
Yeah, they're trying.
They've tried to get a lot of people in.
Yeah. But when that came out, and then it was like, this is the worst movie ever, Tom Cruise called Dave Miscavige. And he was like, what the fuck with this Battlefield Earth? And Dave goes, I know, John, that sea sucker. He threw John right under the bus. Like he had nothing to do with it. So that's how David Miscavige, that's how it's like nothing is ever his fault when it goes
No.
bad.
Nope.
It's this or that guy or
Everybody else.
Yep.
But yeah, there's all kinds of craziness that goes on, even in that sort of celebrity in Hollywood. They have a giant castle on Franklin and Bronson called the Scientology Celebrity Center. It's right next to the 101 freeway. It's
this
like
isn't the blue building.
No, that's
okay.
called
That's
called
the
the complex or
Right.
Big Blue.
Right.
And that's where there's a whole bunch of different Scientology organizations. It used to be Cedars-Sinai Hospital, and Scientology bought it in the 70s when they were building a whole new hospital. And then they made all of those buildings Scientology organizations.
That's some one flew over the cuckoo's nest shit right there.
There used to
Completely.
when we were kids in the early 80s, we would run around in the basements where the morgues used to be down there, and there was like burnout bulbs down there, and it was the best scary place to go if you were a kid. Like, oh, we're gonna go down to the morgues today.
Yeah, this is normal.
Anyway, but at the Celebrity Center, that's where you have your Elizabeth Mosses and Michael Pena, and kind of like the Scientology celebrity Erica Christensen. Some of these guys that have been around for a while that are, if you're doing a Tide commercial, you get to go to the Celebrity Center. Anything from that up. And they have
bar.
and they have musicians, and they have poets, and it's sort of like where the Scientology artists go to do Scientology, or just rich Scientologists that want to hang out with celebrities.
Incidentally, that's also where we got married in August 1992.
Oh, we're gonna come to your guys' story. That's in the back of my head.
Yeah, no, it's all
I'm
good.
just loving all the expose here. It's
Well,
great. So
I'm
we're
trying to
riding with
think of things that people might find, like how is it connected to the current zeitgeist of,
Right.
What's going on and all these different things. So,
Yeah.
but the celebrities, even after Tom Cruise gets the Freedom Medal of Valor and all this other stuff, or around that time period, and Dave Miscavige told us that this happened. He said, Tom Cruise, I didn't tell him to do this. He rounded up all of those Scientology celebrities that we mentioned, the Elfmans and Michael, whoever was like a celebrity that could do something. Tom Cruise got all those guys together, and he brought them to this Scientology museum on Sunset Boulevard called the Psychiatry, the Industry of Death. Scientology.
They hate psychiatry.
Psychiatry is like, they're like, those guys are messing with people, not us. These guys are doing crazy stuff, electroshock therapy and all these barbaric prefrontal lobotomies and all this stuff.
Hit your E-meter.
Yeah, and Tom Cruise took all those guys through it, and then at the end he basically said, you guys aren't doing anything. You're not promoting Scientology. You're not getting people into Scientology. He's like, you best be getting to doing that, because I can make it so that you don't ever work in this town again.
Whoa.
And so right after that, Jenna Elfman opens a Scientology facility in San Francisco, and some of these guys kind of get to it and say, okay, we'll do some stuff. And they do a little bit. Danny Masterson was one of the people who started doing more Scientology stuff at that time.
Oh, so he got it talking too.
Yeah, all the Scientology celebrities that are notable were part of that little meeting. And then David Miscavige told us, he said he did this, and he's putting in ethics on his group of celebrities. And I think that segued into he'll come up and kick some asses if I want up here too, kind of thing. So Dave Miscavige portrays Tom Cruise as like his right-hand man and another trusted individual who knows the burden that David Miscavige has to carry of trying to, get Scientology to succeed and all this other stuff.
Got small shoulders to carry that on too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Shortly after that is also when Shelley Miscavige started the project to find Tom Cruise a wife.
Wait, what? Refresh me on that, please.
So Shelley Miscavige is the one who was running the project to find Tom Cruise a wife, because by this point, now we're in late 2004, he had been in a relationship with Penelope Cruz. They had tried and failed to get her into Scientology, and they broke up.
Do you know anything about the efforts to get her in and what?
100%.
Okay,
Yeah.
can we talk about that? Like, because good for her for staying away from it.
For sure,
But what
yeah.
happened there?
She was, and again, I should say this is what we were told.
Okay.
Okay. they had Jessica Feshbeck is who later became the handler of Katie Holmes, is a member of the Sea Organization, and she at this time was working at Celebrity Center. She was doing counseling with Penelope Cruz. They got her onto the Purification Rundown. But Penelope, as we were told, was either into yoga or Buddhism or some other practices that were forbidden if you're going to become a Scientologist. So that's kind of where the progress hit a brick wall.
You can't do yoga in Scientology?
They
it's
call
called other practices.
It's called mixing practices or other practices. So,
but Scientology accepts people of all religions, quote unquote.
They do, so they can make you not part of those religions.
I know, but I know yoga obviously has some ancient traditions as well, but do they let you bench press and squat?
Sure, you can.
Okay.
You can go work out, but if you're doing some yoga nonsense, they'll be like, "Hey, we don't do that here."
So no downward bending dog.
Yeah, none of that.
Yeah,
you can bench press, you can do push-ups, you can do pull-ups, but
those
don't get no doggy position.
That's right. Okay, so she was into something that was unacceptable.
Right. And that was at least as it was told to us, had gotten to the point where it's a big problem for Tom Cruise that she wasn't going further and further, taking it. So
yeah.
How did they get? Do you know? Because obviously it's secondhand here, like you said. But do you know what that conversation is like beyond Tom saying to her, "Hey, I want to take you over to my church" or whatever? Like what the conversation is like once she gets there, and who talks to her, and how they approach the idea of like, "Hey, we're trying to pull you into the big thing right here."
Well, they don't really do it like that. I can give you personal experience because at the international headquarters, when Nicole, so he was married to Mimi Rogers in the early 90s and late 80s. And when Nicole...
And Mimi Rogers, by the way, was born into Scientology.
Yeah, she was a Scientologist. She's the one who got Tom Cruise into Scientology. Yeah. His first wife was the one who got him in.
Oh, you know what? I think Marc told me that.
But when he was doing the movie Days of Thunder with Nicole, they started forming a relationship, and then Mimi was out, and then Nicole showed up. Right after he shot Days of Thunder, he was working at the international headquarters, training and doing counseling in Scientology at the headquarters.
Tom Cruise.
And Nicole...
Tom Cruise was training people.
No, he was
learning how to do Scientology auditing.
Okay.
So that when you do Scientology training, that means you're the one being trained. So he was learning how to become a counselor in Scientology so that he could counsel somebody else. But when you are very first starting out in Scientology, you have to counsel someone who's never had any Scientology counseling. You have to get somebody who's raw meat. They're fresh, clean slate. Well, I was so young at that time, and I hadn't done a lot of Scientology stuff. So I became his Scientology guinea pig that he would practice on. And I did that every day. I would go and I would sit down and go on the e-meter, and Tom Cruise would do counseling sessions.
Tom Cruise was his auditor.
And so then, but Nicole, it was in a room probably 3 times this big.
Well, we're going to come back to that, but please keep going.
And in the room, we're sitting at a desk and he's doing the counseling. There's a table on the other side of the room. Nicole Kidman's there, Kirstie Alley's there, and they're also doing Scientology courses. So one of the first courses you do in Scientology, especially if you're a celebrity, is a course called the PTS SP course. And you learn about
potential trouble source, suppressive person.
Yeah. So if you have accidents or you get sick or anything in your life goes sideways, you are a potential trouble source in Scientology. And the only way that you can be a potential trouble source is if you're connected to a suppressive person. Right. So Scientology celebrities do that as one of their first things, because if there's anybody in their friend group who's like, "Oh no, you shouldn't do Scientology," the people that say you shouldn't do Scientology have crimes against humanity, and they're worried that if Scientology succeeds, their crimes will be revealed. So they don't want you to do that because they don't want them. Those people that say don't do Scientology, you immediately go, "Oh, he's done some shit." And don't listen to that person. So Nicole was doing that course when Tom Cruise was counseling me. So
how old are you again when this is happening?
I'm at that time, it was 92, I think, when that happened. 91, 92.
No, it was 1990.
1990.
So you were 17?
Yeah, it was
16,
17.
He's what, 27, 28, something like that?
Something like
Something
that.
like that.
I remember specifically that he had longer hair than I'd ever seen him have in any Top Gun or whatever movies. And when he came, he had the Daza Cole Trickle fucking hair, which was kind of like just longish hair.
Okay.
Not, combable, not
Right.
Top Gun.
Yeah.
Anyway, but
So you're sitting across from Tom
I'm sitting
Cruise.
across, and even I was told by the Sea Org members in Religious Technology Center, you're not allowed to tell anybody about this. No one's to ever know that this happened. This is it's like top
That he was
secret.
even there at the
Yeah.
headquarters,
It-
let alone that Tom Cruise was auditing Marc.
Yeah. So when I went to go get the counseling every day, I would go up, get the counseling, and then everybody on the property is supposed to do 2.5 hours of studying of L. Ron Hubbard's works every day. And most people do that from 7:30 to 10 o'clock at night. That's when their study time is, where they study L. Ron Hubbard's works. So during my time when I would go off to study, I just wouldn't go to study. I would go to the other side of the property and go get counseled by Tom Cruise. And so when I came back, I was just I was on study with everybody else. I didn't go do that. But then one of the days when you go and get counseling in Scientology, you have to have slept a certain amount of hours. You have to have been well fed. And you basically have to be present there in the counseling. You can't just fall asleep, which I did do one of the times.
You
when
fell asleep on
I
Tom
fell
Cruise?
asleep while he was
You
counseling.
fall asleep on Tom Cruise.
Yeah, I fell asleep
Tom
on
fucking Cruise,
Well, because
bro.
in Scientology counseling, they ask you, it's repetitive questions that you answer just over and over. They could ask you the same question 50 times.
What might that be?
Think of a place where you could communicate to that.
From where could you communicate to a man?
Yeah.
From where could you communicate to an ashtray? Whatever, random.
To an ashtray?
And to anything, to any objects.
Do you try to do Ben and Spoon shit or?
That
no?
comes later.
Oh,
anyway,
oh, really?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
move a book in a bottle.
There's
with your
it's
intention.
It's called Opro by Dupe, and you have a book on one side of the room and a bottle on the other side of the room. And so you're standing, you're ambulatory according to how this process goes. And so Tom Cruise would say to Marc, look at that book, walk over to it, pick it up. What is its color?
What is its
What
weight?
is its temperature? Put it back down, turn around, look at that bottle.
And you just do that over
and over again.
Anyway.
For hundreds of hours sometimes.
And then sometimes you do it on the e-meter. So there's some walking around processing that you do.
Yeah.
And then there's some where you're sitting there just answering questions or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, when he was doing that, I basically, just faded and was just out.
You're just falling asleep.
And if you are a counselor, what they call an auditor, Scientology auditor, if you're doing that and somebody falls asleep, you are in huge trouble. You fucked up.
Wait, so Tom Cruise is in trouble?
Yes. That's like the worst sin that you're supposed to be helping them spiritually. And they're so bored with you that they fall asleep. That's a huge thing. But if you're Tom Cruise and that happens, guess who gets in trouble?
Yeah.
I got in trouble. So I had to switch my schedule and I had to do all this other stuff. But one of the times before you go into session, you have to be properly fed, properly slept and all that. And there's a test that they do on the e-meter where you take in a deep breath and then you let it out through your mouth. And the needle on the e-meter is supposed to go boosh all the way over to the other side of the dial.
Or at least 1 to 2 inches for you to pass the test.
Yeah. And if you don't pass that test, you're not well fed or you're not well rested or something's wrong.
What is the science, big air quotes there, of the e-meter even working?
It's
total bullshit.
It's total 100%.
So someone...
It measures resistance in your body, essentially. That's what it does.
But it moves, supposedly.
Well, when you do a physical reaction like that, it does move.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't move a lot, then you can't start the counseling.
Yeah.
And so...
My buddy Danny I was telling you about, he had one.
Yeah.
On his...
There you go. That's a Marc. That's
in
called...
his studio.
That's called a Marc Super 7. quantum.
Yeah, they do a pinch test.
Can you see
They
Oh yeah.
Is it on there?
Yeah.
they do a pinch test to convince
Calibrate it.
Yeah.
Or
to
to make-
convince people
yeah.
that it is reading your thoughts. The pinch test. So you literally pinch somebody. This is how the Scientologists convince a person that this actually works and can read your thoughts and everything. You hold the cans, they pinch you, and then the person administering the test says, recall the moment of the pinch, and then you'll see the needle react when they think
There's
about
someone below the table moving.
Yeah, exactly.
David Miscavige is down there ripping a lawn dart, moving it.
But so I failed that test when one of the days I went there.
metabolism test.
It's called a metabolism test. I
Yeah.
failed the test. And Tom Cruise is like, you ever take bee pollen?
Oh my God.
And I'm like, bee pollen? I'm like, you literally harvest the pollen from bees? And it's like, oh no, they're like little candies. You can just get them. He goes, I've heard that bee pollen will help you pass a metabolism test. So here I'm told, no one can know that Tom Cruise is doing your counseling. You're going to study like everybody else. You're not going over to this other place. It's top secret. And he's like, they have bee pollen on the other side of the property in the canteen. We had like a little store next to the dining area where you could buy like sodas and candy bars and shit like that. And supposedly they had fucking bee pollen up in that bitch. I didn't know anything about it. And so he's like, let's go down. We'll go down and we'll get some bee pollen. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, I don't know how we're going to get there without anybody seeing it. No, just jump on a motorcycle. I'm riding bitch on the back of his bike.
On Tom Cruise's motorcycle.
Yeah, we drive down there. There's people coming and going from the dining hall. It's during a meal break, so there's people everywhere. And I'm like, yeah, pretty sure the fucking secret's going to get out now. And I'm not the one who did it. It's him. He said we should go here.
Oh, you're blaming.
He said
Tom's
fucking,
fault.
Yeah, Tommy. This is all on Tommy Boy. Okay, Mr. Risky Business came up with this plan. Anyway, so I take the bee pollen. I don't remember if it worked or not or whatever. It might have, but then every day he was like, "Are you taking vitamins?" Or I'm like, "Dude, I'm in the Sea Org. I don't have vitamin money. Okay, we're getting 40
vitamin money.
We're getting 40 clams a week. I ain't spending it on vitamins, dude.
Oh my God. Was your personality like this though? Back then, were you affable and light like this?
Pretty much.
That's amazing.
I grew up in Hollywood on the streets, like on Hollywood Boulevard, really, when I was little. And then as I kind of got older, I started going to the Scientology schools, but I was kind of a rebel even at the
100%.
Scientology schools and getting in trouble there. And I had a few years where I went to school in Venice Beach, and I was like one of a couple of white kids in the entire school. And so I got a lot of pavement fucking meetings with my face. And so when I went then from that back to a Scientology school and someone says, hey, your mother's this or whatever, you just beat the shit out of them.
Oh, at Scientology school you did?
I did. Yeah. You're not supposed to do that in the Scientology school, but I've been at this other place that's how the rules were. And
You'll bring that into the culture.
And so here I'm with all these white lily kids and they're like, hey, your mom, you go, bitch, and then it's like, hey, whoa, we don't do that here. I'd be like, well, then stop talking about my fucking mom and dad.
So you never felt compelled to do that to Tom Cruise with anything he said?
Not Tom Cruise. Okay. David Miscavige, I did have a dust up with him one time. And he would, when we would have meetings, so we would go into a meeting with him like after lunch, like 1, 2 o'clock. And then we would literally be in that meeting the whole afternoon through the dinner break and maybe in 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock that night in one meeting.
Talking about what?
Talking about all the plans that he has that we're not working on, we're not getting done.
How everyone's a schmucko.
Yeah. And for a while, I used to be in the manufacturing division, then I was in the cinematography division, then I was in the pre-production. I was in many parts of Golden Era Productions. And at a certain point, I was the producer. So I was over all the production areas for Golden Era Productions. And from that post, any plan that David Miscavige had for any area, somehow I was connected to it. Either if it's courses we're supposed to produce, videos we're supposed to produce, lectures we're supposed to produce. So I could end up in meetings with him, 2 or 3 meetings a day, because he's going to meet on the event that we're having, this IAS event that's coming up in October. Okay, good. And then after lunch, we're going to meet on what's happening on scripts for films. And so I was in meetings with him many days, all day. And he would beat the shit out of people in meetings, punch them, kick them, shove them up against a wall, throw shit at them,
Do
choke
people
them.
Naturally react to it, or
No,
just totally...
everybody is just like, please not me, please not me, please not me, please not me. If you're going to a meeting with Dave and he's already a little randy, someone's gonna get a file folder with a bunch of VHS tips in their face. Just he literally would take these legal manila folders and we put VHS tapes in it for him to approve a offline edit or an online edit or a music mix or a final mix down or whatever. And he would take one of those with maybe 3 of these hard shells with the tapes in it, and he would fucking hit you in the face with the goddamn thing.
Have you seen you've seen Elf, the movie?
And he's an angry elf.
He's an angry, he's a South Pole elf.
That is literally the best representation. And he has climbed across a table like Peter Dinklage and throttled somebody.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah. So
I hope he watches these. I really do.
Yeah. Well, the Office of Special Affairs 100% watches us, transcribes it, and puts it into our file.
Great.
But we were having a meeting like that, and or he was having a meeting like that, and he came to the area where I was working, which at this time I was over manufacturing of CDs, cassettes, DVDs, and basically the videos and audio that come out of Scientology. And I had been demoted from the producer post to that post over manufacturing because I had suggested that in order to produce all these lectures and everything that David Miscavige wanted produced by a certain time, I needed about $10 million worth of equipment to be able to build out the printing lines and all of the production lines and the packaging to be able to produce hundreds of thousands of these CDs of L. Ron Hubbard's lectures. They're doing lectures in English, Spanish, German, French, Spanish Castilian, like 14 different languages. They're doing VO talent, re-recording L. Ron Hubbard's lectures. Anyway, and then because I said we needed all this money, I got removed from my position and I got put in the area, directly running the area that I was proposing needed all this money. Mm-hmm. And he was walking through about 6 months later after spending $15 million on equipment for that area. And he said, now this is set up right. And I'm walking through everything with him now that it's all built and all set up. And he goes, yeah, this is the right way to set this up. That nobody else could have done this. And I'm standing right there. And I lost my job, my high position, because I wanted to spend 10. And so under my breath, I was like, well, yeah, fucking, if you have extra fucking $5 million, you could probably do fucking whatever you want. He heard it. Oh. And he was like, what the fuck? And he just come from one of these Angry Elf meetings. And so he was already fucking wound up. And he fucking just started punching me. I used to have glasses. He's punching me. The glasses fell off. I got like shoved up against like a desk kind of cabinet system, wall mounted cabinets. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Anyway, I pick up my glasses and I'm like, let's go, bitch. And 2 guys grabbed me from either side and carried me out of the building.
Oh,
and
so you didn't get a shot in.
And as they were carrying me out, he goes, did you see that? He was gonna fucking punch me. And I was like, yeah, damn straight, Skippy. It's enough. And I left about 3 months. I escaped about 3 months after that. Because if the Pope of your cult gives you the beat down.
Yeah, no.
It's not a lot of opportunities opening up for you after that.
No.
So, but that's a Tuesday.
Yeah.
He could literally come into your area. you say something, sets him off, or choke, a little throttle around the neck, and the other thing is they have a reprogramming camp in Scientology called the the Rehabilitation Project Force. And it's like basically a little prison reprogramming camp within the Sea Org only. Within the Sea Organization is the only one that has this. And you wear all black, you work, do hard labor most of the day, could include scrubbing dumpsters with a toothbrush, cleaning floors, construction, landscaping.
And you have to run everywhere. And you're not allowed, if you're in the Rehabilitation Project Force, you're not allowed to communicate with anyone outside of that.
Only spoken if spoken to.
Yeah. And then 5 hours a day, you're interrogated for your evil purposes.
For your evil purposes, that's what they call it.
Against David Miscavige, L. Ron Hubbard, or Scientology.
And who interrogates you? Someone who does that
Another
full-time?
person that's assigned to the Rehabilitation Project Force.
You do it to each other.
Oh my God.
You learn how to do the
Prisoner's
interrogations,
dilemma,
and then you interrogate
shit.
each other. It's the most efficient system.
Yeah. Wow.
So there's always the threat that if you say the wrong thing or you do the wrong thing, there's a suppressive person avenue where you get kicked out. Now you can't talk to your family. There's the RPF version where you have to go to the prison camp, and you could be, I think one of the longest stints that somebody had on that was like 13, 14 years of the program. And you keep getting interrogated until there's no evil purposes that read on the e-meter. As long as they think they use the e-meter as like an evil thought dividing rod.
An evil thought dividing.
Yeah. They use the e-meter. Like if I ask you a question, I say, is there anything you did today that I shouldn't know about? And then I go, oh yeah, that right there. What did you just think of? What did you just think of? And you go, well.
And
like,
no is not the answer. If it reacted on the e-meter, we're going to keep talking about it until you answer the question.
And then when you're done telling me what you did, the needle is supposed to float. It's supposed to be very free and flowing. And if it's like that, we're good. We're done. We don't need to talk about that anymore. But until it gets to that thing, we say, was there an earlier similar overt that you did? And you keep going until the needle is smooth and flowing. That means your shit don't stink. You're clean as a whistle.
Yeah, rhythmic sweep of the dial back and forth. That's how it's described.
So you can go to the RPF, you can get declared, or you can get a shit kicking from David Miscavige. Which do you pick?
I didn't realize he was like that violent all the time.
100%. For, I would say, starting in the early 90s, all the way up until I left in 2005, he was given beatdowns on a regular basis.
Now he was born into Scientology, right?
He got in as a young kid.
He got in as a child. His father got into his parents got into Scientology. Yep. And then he started doing the counseling and stuff when he was young. Like he was a certified counselor when he was like 14 or 15. So he had done all the training and graduated, whatever they needed to do to be able to do counseling on other people very young. And then shortly thereafter, he joined the Sea Organization. And then he ended up he was in Clearwater. That's where he kind of started. And then he went up to the headquarters in Los Angeles and then also at the property in Gilman Hot Springs. And then he worked for Hubbard in various roles, including being on the shoot team that did the videos, did the film, that shot everything on either 16 millimeter or then 35 millimeter film for all the Scientology.
Goebbels learning under Hitler kind of deal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's another crazy thing is because he wasn't well liked by Hubbard. Hubbard talked mad shit about him
about Miscavige
in certain writings. Yeah, 100%.
Shelley Miscavige was way closer to Hubbard than David Miscavige ever was.
Shelley Miscavige grew up on a ship that Hubbard was operating in the sea, at sea, and that's where the Sea Organization started. And she was working directly for L. Ron Hubbard.
How young?
When I think she was 11 when she joined the Sea Org.
I mean, you know what I gotta ask? Was he abusing her?
I don't know.
We've talked to many of the girls, mostly girls, young girls that were his, they called them messengers. It's called the Commodore's Messenger Organization. And so you have young females that are working directly for Hubbard. And when they go to anywhere in Scientology, whether it's an organization or just another Sea Org member, whatever they say is as if L. Ron Hubbard was saying it. Anything that they do or say is basically coming from him.
Right.
So we probably know 5 or 6 of the people over the years that used to work directly for Hubbard in this position that were messengers on the same ship with Shelley Miscavige. And 2 of 1, none of them that we've talked to say that he had any sexual abuse with them, but
there were many things that were incredibly creepy. Like,
yeah.
like where, you know, that he would have them wear halter tops and carry around his ashtray and bathe him and, you know.
Bathe him.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, there's definitely.
Like the creep factor was out the roof.
And also he was very verbally abusive. So all of them would say, well, yeah, he never touched me, but he did everything before up until that point.
So he got tight with Shelley though because she was one of these originally.
Well, yeah. So when the Sea Organization was moved to land, it moved to land in Clearwater. Daytona Beach for a little bit, and then they moved to Clearwater. When they bought that big hotel, they were like, "We got it. We got our beachhead there." And actually, I want to say the project to infiltrate Clearwater and set up the headquarters of Scientology there was called Project Normandy.
Maybe.
I'm pretty sure it was called Project Normandy. Anyway,
oh God.
But either way, so Shelley and Dave met there in Clearwater, and then they became a thing. But in the history of it all, David Muscat, was it Project Normandy?
Yep.
Damn,
Yep,
I'm good. Just ask me, I'll tell
Normandy
you.
Was a top secret Church of Scientology operation wherein the church planned to take over the city of Clearwater, Florida, by infiltrating government offices and media centers. Gabe Cazares, who was the mayor of Clearwater at the time, used the term the occupation of Clearwater and later characterized it as a paramilitary operation by a terrorist group.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
They were
he
up
was honest about it.
Well, in that time, that was when the Guardian's office was in full swing. And I think they actually framed a bunch of these
Gabe.
people, and specifically
Full
Gabe
on.
Cazares. They accused him of doing all kinds of horrible sexual things. And they also, I think, is he the one? There was some of the people that were kind of messing with Scientology in Clearwater. They arranged for a Guardian's office member who was also a lawyer to represent somebody that was trying to sue Scientology. So they had their guy representing the guy that was doing them so that person got screwed. You know Bert Kreischer?
Of course.
Bert Kreischer's dad was a lawyer in Florida, and he won one of the very few cases in those days that where Scientology got lit up and Hubbard had to pay. And it was like
Kreischer's dad?
Kreischer's dad.
That apple fell far from the tree.
But now, no, this is the best part. As soon as he won that case, L. Ron Hubbard hired him.
No.
And he never did anything, but they hired him because he's one of the lawyers that could win against them. So, and I think Bert's talked about it on different podcasts here and there, but it was just known as the church around the house because they put him through fucking college.
It was a legendary college career.
Right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so they created the machine.
Oh my God.
Scientology, what is that? They co-opted the machine. They sponsored the machine.
I feel like it was against Scientology standards, though.
Well, yeah, no. They just locked up his dad because his dad won a case against Hubbard. So Hubbard was like, we need that. That guy needs to be on our payroll, not on the other side.
That's the Tony Soprano method. When you're getting divorced from your wife, just consult with every single good divorce lawyer in the area, and then they can't fucking...
That's right. Now she's up a creek.
Conflict of interest.
Anyway,
Wow.
so at the base, there was at the end base, there was a lot of people there that either worked on the ship with Hubbard or they were in Clearwater in the early days. And so a lot of these people knew what Hubbard would do in certain situations. And they would say, Dave ain't doing what Hubbard would have done. And Hubbard said, you don't have conventions because everybody stops doing Scientology. Now they're working on setting up an event, and you don't do that. Dave Miscavige has 7-8 conventions a year to get money from Scientologists.
If he was so made fun of by L. Ron Hubbard, though, how did he finagle his way into the position to be the guy?
Well, before he was what he's now called, he's called chairman of the board Religious Technology Center. Before that, he was chairman of the board Author Services Incorporated. And Author Services it's essentially a publishing firm or a management firm just for L. Ron Hubbard. They have one artist, L. Ron Hubbard.
Literary
for all his
fiction.
Science fiction and all that. But anything that he wrote, they get a royalty. Okay. So when you do a course in Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard gets paid because you're using the materials that are based on his writings in this course. And so there's a huge amount of money that goes to that. Well, when Hubbard was still alive, he was very suspicious that they were stealing his money. And he demanded them to bring him a banker's box of cash, about $1 million in a banker's box, would get secretly delivered to him when he was out in the desert in California. And every week they'd bring him a box, and maybe a few weeks they'd bring him 2 boxes. And then he'd get half a box and he'd be like, what's going on here? And so David Miscavige supposedly lost about $30 million of Hubbard's of money. Like he invested in things that were like fake oil wells in Oklahoma. And there's a book called The Deep Blue Sea. And it talks about these scientists and these like ocean scientists that figured out how the tides moved and how things moved over the years. And based on that, they would take records or any writings of treasure ships that had sunk with treasure and figure out where they'd be now and then go there and dig. Those people went to Scientology and said, hey, we got a sure thing going here. And David Miscavige just got burned by all the fake oil wells. He's like, no, I ain't doing it. And then they'd find it all. And they'd find billions and billions of dollars worth of gold. And in this book, The Deep Blue Sea, they talk about how they went to Scientology to get money from them, to invest.
It didn't work out.
But so Dave Miscavige started doing this thing where they would sell limited edition books and artwork from Hubbard's books. Frank Frazetta, very famous painter, artist, did a bunch of paintings based on the Battlefield Earth books and the Mission Earth science fiction series. And then Scientology would sell these as collector's items for like $15,000 a print. And so the reason they started doing that, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, Deef has
He's
it.
quick on the draw here.
Deef is the fastest in the game.
Anyway, so they would sell these limited edition prints to Scientologists mostly. And that's how Dave filled that $30 million hole.
By selling this shit?
Oh, and books, Hubbard books, leather-bound editions. I'm telling you, there's about 30 or 40 of these paintings, limited edition, like 1 through 500. They're selling them for $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 each.
God, he wasn't around. He didn't get on the NFT craze.
Oh my goodness!
I mean, shit.
Selling bored body thetans.
Yeah, he would have been. They would have been swimming in 2021.
So somehow Dave filled that hole, and so it never came to light that he had lost the money because he made it up with all this other money.
But
anyway,
L. Ron Hubbard didn't like him.
But, well, he suspected he was up to no good.
Right.
And so during that time, though, there was a project that David Miscavige was in charge of, which was called the All Clear, where they basically needed to make it so Hubbard wasn't being hunted by law enforcement and the FBI and all these different agencies because Scientology was up to no good. And they had just...
And there were pending lawsuits.
They just got convicted in the Guardian's office thing. I want to say it's 10 or 11 of Scientology's top officials, including L. Ron Hubbard's own wife, 12, went to jail for the infiltration of the United States government.
His own wife went to jail?
Yeah, Mary Sue Hubbard went to jail
Pull that up, Deef.
for this operation that the Guardian's office was running.
And after she got out of jail, she was banished and literally written out of Scientology's history until she passed. Very similar to Shelley Miscavige.
Right. Yeah, we'll come back to that because I have questions. On
Anyway.
Yeah.
Quick question though on
there you
this
go.
real fast,
Yeah.
because you keep talking about all these different cases, whether it's things that would be civil or criminal or whatever. And of course it rings through that it seems to me whenever the courts outside of Scientology are going to be useful to Scientology, they're like, oh yeah, see the court, we can do that in court and it works. But whenever it's going to be unuseful, they're like, yeah, no, fuck that. They don't mean anything.
100%.
Right.
Scientology threatens to sue people all the time.
Yeah.
They never do.
They don't?
They do not. They threaten to sue people. They don't sue people.
The last person I think that they sued was Debbie Cook. It was a case in Texas, and she was one of the top executives. She ran the Clearwater location for decades. And then she was taken to the headquarters, and David Miscavige abused her physically and made her stand in a trash can and have people throw water at her and stuck a obscene label around her, made her wear anyway, absolutely awful. And she had spoken out. She sent a letter to...
She sent an email.
Yeah, she sent an email to thousands of Scientologists saying what happened.
The ones that were the top level, OT7 and OT8s. She sent an email to all of them.
Yes, exposing what her experiences were, and they sued her and lost.
And they ended up they ended up writing. Well, they didn't lose. They ended up writing a check. They settled.
Right. Yeah, they settled.
But because usually whether it's Scientology or anyone, obviously the court strategy is, all right, we're suing one person. We'll just keep creating hearings so that they have legal bills and it goes away kind of deal. So imagine
but her testimony was so damning that's why they were they shut it down, settle.
After one day of testimony, they wrote her a check.
Yeah.
Because she basically told she told many of the things that Miscavige was up to at the headquarters that people like us had already been telling people all over the place. And now here's a brand new person that just left that's saying that that's still going on. One thing Dave does is he's beating people, he's choking people, he's being like, it's basically like being in a college fraternity full time.
Yeah.
You're just being hazed full time.
Exactly.
And so then somebody high up, one of his lieutenants escapes. And then they go, no, that's the guy that was doing it. And so every time one of those people would leave, they would Scientology be like, David Miscavige wasn't doing that. That was this guy. And we kicked him out. And so here, after all these people had been kicked out that they were throwing under the bus, now this woman comes out. There's no more lieutenants left. It's just Dave left. And she's saying, oh, no, Dave's the one who's running this whole show. He's the one doing all this stuff. And so since that time, I don't think Scientology has sued one single person. They get sued, and then they get into when they abuse the discovery process. Right. Now that we're in together, they'll literally take the biggest vacuum in the world and try to suck up every document that's ever been created in your life.
Right.
But they know if they get in front of a jury, they're toast. That's their worst nightmare. I don't think they have ever in their history won a jury trial. Never. It always goes against them. So they want to sue if they're in a lawsuit with somebody, they want that thing to be prolonged for as many decades as possible until the person just says, I'm out. I can't keep I've spent $8 million trying to get $4 million out of you guys. What the hell are we doing?
Yeah.
So if it's going to go to trial, usually they're giving the person a check on the courthouse steps.
Yeah, Scientology tries to use and abuse the legal system to destroy anyone that would try to come after them or expose them. Like during our lawsuit, when we eventually lost, our attorneys went to Scientology and said, hey, our clients So the judge had awarded them $43,000 in legal fees that we were required to pay. We were ordered to pay.
Because we lost the
that
suit.
guy. Yeah.
We lost the suit. And so, and the legal fees, the only reason they were even $43,000 is because Scientology is paying for as many things as they can.
Yeah, they were
so that
jacking
they
up
can,
the costs. But here's what happened. So our attorneys, unbeknownst to us, turned to Scientology and said, hey, our clients will sign something that will, they won't sue you again in the future. Do you agree to waive that bill? Which our attorneys didn't even tell us they were doing this. Scientology.
That's completely unethical.
Well, so apparently
it's sort of standard practice.
It is apparently standard practice, at least according to our attorneys, to say, hey, we'll agree to not, we waive future rights for a lawsuit if you agree to let this bill go.
But we would have to sign those.
Right. You have to be consulted on that, right?
No.
Well, yeah, we should have been.
This is where it's above my pay grade.
So Scientology turned around to that and said, no, we will only waive the bill if your client meets the following requirements. Agrees to never speak publicly about Scientology ever again. Turns over the rights to Marc's book, Blown for Good Behind the Iron Curtain of Scientology. Rats out any media they've ever spoken to. Rats out any former members they've ever spoken to. If they meet those requirements, we'll waive the bill. So of course we were like,
we
hell
said
no,
and I wrote him a check for $43K, and that was the end of it. So, but
what was real quick? I just because you had said this earlier, and I didn't ask you, but what was the story with them? Your lawyers. I don't remember if you said unbeknownst to us or how you put it. It was a couple hours ago, but like your lawyers had all these other charges against Scientology and they just reduced it down to human trafficking. Why did they reduce the other things? What was the logic there?
Because there was an ongoing FBI investigation into Scientology for human trafficking.
Right. But
why
did
the broader
that was
answer to that is that Scientology obviously has by now billions of dollars, and they hired the best law firms. And we were just us with one guy,
right?
And they were burying him in paperwork and this and that and the other thing. So basically, they were, using their high-powered attorneys to whittle down our causes of action. And given that the FBI investigation was ongoing, it seemed like, okay, maybe this is a reasonable strategy. It wasn't. We lost. But hey, we wouldn't be here speaking to you today if we'd won. So
right. But that also, that was where I was a bit confused because you mentioned you guys at the time, and we can come back to that, were informants for an FBI investigation. Your lawyer's job, I understand, like he's getting inundated with paperwork and everything, but his job is still to do best fiduciary responsibility to the client. His responsibility is not to cooperate with the FBI.
I understand. And he wasn't involved with the FBI side of this thing.
Right.
No. It was just that it was happening. The lawyers were like, if the FBI think they have a case, then this is how we should go. Because they're not, the FBI are not opening an investigation and actively interviewing and looking for informants if they don't have something that they think is a real deal. They got.
What year is this?
This is in 2010, 10, in that kind of period.
Our lawsuit was 2009 until 2012. And by the way, I will say going into it, I just didn't realize how aggressively Scientology would have gagged us even if we had one. Mm-hmm. So in the overall scheme of things, this was the best possible outcome.
And to be fair, a lot of this information about David Miscavige is abuse, and a lot of these things made it in to the public because it was filed in the court case, and they had to. It was public record at this point, and there were different things that came out of it that ended up being, in the end, a good thing. But the other thing I was going to say, just to kind of not throw the lawyer under the bus, but I mean, I was giving him gas money to drive from Northern California down to our house. Claire was going.
I had to walk. We had a 6-month-old. We had a 6-month-old. Our second son was 6 months old at the time. I literally carried his car seat into the federal chambers to deliver filings in our lawsuit.
Yeah. It
That's
was,
how-
we
that's
were
how
doing
it
this
was,
on a shoestring budget,
Yeah.
trying to sue.
It was a literal David and Goliath.
Yeah, notorious litigant. And it was like, the lawyer we had was the one lawyer who would sue Scientology. It wasn't like there were 20 of them and we had to pick. You could go to any law firm in the world and say, hey, we want to sue Scientology. And be like,
fuck out.
Fuck that, dude. Those guys go decades on a case. We don't have that kind of change to do that. So it's one of those things where you get what you pay for.
But you're also, the reason I was asking like specifically when it was, because if it starts in 2009, you guys are now 3-4 years out.
Right.
Which is not that, like, it's not that long a time.
No.
Yeah.
You're still adjusting to the world and how things really work and what a real court system's like. So it's not like, oh, here's the 100 best law firms in New York and here's why they're the best.
Yeah.
Here's what you have no idea about any of that.
Well, how we ended up with the lawyer that we had was that my good friend, who also left Scientology around the time we did, he was an actor and he shot a bunch of Scientology films at the property when I was over the film team. And it's a guy by the name of Jason Begay. He's on a TV show called Chicago PD now. He's like the main.
Jason Begay.
Yeah.
I know that name.
Yeah. He's the main cop on Chicago PD, the TV show on NBC. Cool. Anyway, he was like, I think I should sue these guys. I gave them millions of dollars and they gave me nothing and they messed me up, if anything. And so I was trying to help him find a lawyer to sue Scientology. And so we met with these guys and we met this lawyer and he was listening to Jason and Jason's telling him all the things that happened. And the lawyer's like, I don't think you have a case. And Jason's like, well, shit, da-da-da-da-da. And he goes, but you, I want to know your story because I think you do have a case. And that's me. And so then we started.
By the way, right around this time, Jason did an interview with Marc Bunker that is still on YouTube to this day.
It's probably his most viewed video, I bet.
Wow.
Is this Jason Begay interview.
Yeah.
And Jason's a character.
He is.
And he's lots of fun. But
my favorite line from that video is, show me a motherfucking clear.
Yeah. Yeah. He was literally like, they talk about clear all the time. Show me a motherfucking clear. I ain't seen one.
Yes.
I ain't clear.
It's the best.
Anyway, but regardless, like I said, we didn't have the pick of the litter of the Scientology capable lawyers that would go up against them. And But the crazy thing is there was like 3 or 4 cases that all got started at the same time by this lawyer. Another law firm out of Long Beach, California, ended up picking up those cases. And when that happened is when they kind of said, okay, we're going to do this on this case. We're going to do this on this case. Like the cases were similar, but different enough where they could have different causes of actions. Mm-hmm. And our case ended up getting dismissed or lost on appeal. And then another case ended up they just went kaput. It didn't go anywhere. And I think one other case, the people got converted by Scientology and they went back. And so the case was dead. They let it was a couple and they let the couple talk to their Scientology family again. They said, if you cancel this, you're good. You're done. You're back in the fold. We're not going to declare you suppressive. You can do whatever you want. And they were a young couple. And so they jumped right back into the fray.
It's so strange because when I hear the experiences of individuals like you guys who used to be in it, the only way that I can really visualize it and the suppression and the constant like staring at each other like, are you going to say it? Are you going to say it? I'm going to report you if you do, but I'm not going to tell you out loud if you do. It's like everyone in there is in the Truman Show.
Yeah.
You're all
completely.
Truman.
100%. And that's funny that you say that. There's a lot of people that have likened it to the Truman Show.
Yeah.
Because it's a whole world of bullshit.
Yes.
And the only ones who know that it's bullshit is David Miscavige, and everybody else is there to save the planet. They're earnestly trying to help people because they've been told that this is the answer.
Now that's my question. Do you think You're not in his head, so it's impossible to know. But do you think that someone like David Miscavige, who bought into this for probably power purposes at a young age, really true blue believer, the whole bit, even though he's at the top and knows shit now, do you think he's so personally self-brainwashed that he might actually believe that some of it's true?
I don't think he does.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
I mean, and there are a few factors. First of all, David Miscavige, while we were there, had not gotten any counseling, auditing, study, done any of that since 1993. So
he doesn't do it himself.
If you're going to measure someone's belief by their active participation in and expectations that everyone else is required to meet, then you should judge that person by their actions. And by his actions, hell no.
He's selling the supplement, but he ain't taking it.
Yeah, he's not doing the product.
As the saying goes, absolute power corrupts absolutely. That's my opinion of David Miscavige.
And the other thing that I think kind of leans into that is when he did that thing where he lost the money for Hubbard and then he got it back. And during that time, he was in charge of this thing to make it so no one was trying to hunt down or arrest L. Ron Hubbard. It was called Project All Clear, where Hubbard can just walk around like a normal person and not worried about getting bagged up and taken to jail. So Hubbard is saying, hey, I want you to set, he's in seclusion. He's in hiding. Nobody knows where he is. Even in Scientology, nobody knew where he was. It was a very top secret wherever Hubbard's location was. But David Miscavige was talking to the guy that was the conduit between the two of them.
Yeah.
And when David is trying to do all this stuff legally to make it so Hubbard can be just cool again, he's the one hiring the lawyers. He's the one reworking, retooling the corporate structure. He's the only one in Scientology who knew how it was all going to work so that Hubbard couldn't get lit up again. And when he figured all that out, he was like, oh, I know more than anybody. Everything is siloed. He's like, I know more than even L. Ron Hubbard knows on how this is going to work. And then Hubbard dies. And Hubbard put the guy that was the conduit between the two of them, he told that guy, or so the story goes, he told that guy, you and your wife are going to be in charge. Not David Miscavige. But David Miscavige was like, oh no, I got this, bitch. I've already set this all up. You have no power. You don't exist. And that guy,
but he had to get support to do that.
Well, that guy was a what they call in Scientology an opinion leader. If he says something, Scientologists will listen to what he has to say. But that guy was also the guy that was bringing those banker boxes to Hubbard. And so David Miscavige is like, dude, I got you bringing millions of dollars across state lines. You want to mess with me? You're done. So the story goes that dude had a pickup truck. His name was Pat Broker.
Pat Broker.
Pat Broker had a pickup truck, and he filled it with a whole bunch of banker boxes, and he drove off into the sunset. And David Miscavige, that's when he takes over Scientology in 1986. In January of 1986 is when Hubbard died. And that's essentially when David Miscavige's total reign started. He was kind of a head honcho down here working for Hubbard, but as soon as Hubbard was gone, it was like, this is all mine now.
And then after that, he systematically took out anyone who would have been competition. But by the way, before I forget, speaking of true believers, Shelley Miscavige,
yes,
different story completely.
How so?
100% full on, firm, solid believer in Scientology and Hubbard and everything else. And frankly, I'm sure that's a huge piece of why David Miscavige got rid of her and, put her into banishment.
They do now, like it's like, where is Shelley Miscavige for years, but they do now know where she is, right?
Well,
is that fair to say?
It's not
the whole, to me, the point is not the question, where is Shelley Miscavige, still stands, because Shelley Miscavige is not free to leave. She hasn't been seen publicly since 2006, I want to say, 2005, shortly after we escaped. She was moved to one of their most secure, least known properties in Running Springs, California. If you factor in, like, from our perspective, Shelley Miscavige was like the first lady of Scientology. She was always at David Miscavige's side. She was his assistant. She was with him in every meeting, copied on all the correspondence. She was involved in everything. And then all of a sudden, poof, she's just gone. That's the significant, like, from a Scientologist perspective, or for anyone working at that property, that when she was gotten rid of and removed and vanished, it was a huge shock to the system.
It's basically like she was the governor on David Miscavige being crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, without her there, he would go really crazy.
Do you think there was real love there?
I never saw it. Yeah.
I was there for 15 years. I never saw them hug once. I never saw them kiss once. I never saw them hold hands. I was in meetings with him some days all day for weeks and weeks and weeks. We'd be in meetings with him, and she'd be right there. No, no PDA in Scientology.
Yeah. And in fact, on the contrary, in a conversation I had with Shelley Miscavige, she indicated, she didn't outright say, but she heavily implied that she was getting the same abusive treatment that other executives were.
Physically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
how did they end up getting married? What was the story there again? We started to talk about that and got off it.
Well, they met in Clearwater.
They got married, I want to say, in the early 80s. But they were both messengers. They had, both been in the Sea organization for years, and by that point, and I have it in my notes somewhere, but I think they were like 19 and 20 when they got married.
Young.
Yep.
Yeah. We got married. I was 19 and she was 17. So we've been married 34 years now.
Almost
34 years. 34 years in August.
Yeah. Got married in Vegas.
Yeah. Oh, you got married in Vegas?
In California, if you're underage and you go to get a marriage certificate, you have to go see a psychologist or a psychiatrist.
Oh,
they have to
have that.
They have to sign off on it. And so Scientology is like, if you want to get married and you're in the Sea organization, you got to go to Vegas, because you can get married at 2:00 in the morning with Vegas. You go, the county clerk is open 24 hours in Vegas, so you can get married anytime you want. And it's like $28. And you don't need to do anything.
Yeah. Because you're not allowed to have sex in the Sea organization. Because you're not allowed to have sex if you're not married in the Sea organization, the tendency is for people to get married really young. And so most Sea Org members,
you don't get a test drive either. You gotta find the model you want and commit.
Yeah. So most Sea Org members,
I'm holding in so many jokes. I just want to give myself credit for that.
So Sea Org members it was enough Sea Org members that are underage that are getting married, that they knew the exact way. What's the most efficient way to do it?
Yeah.
You get one of your family members in Scientology to drive you to Vegas. You get married.
Because we didn't have a car, of course.
And then you come back and you're...
Anyway, the point being, there are a lot of young marriages that happen in Vegas.
Right. And this is actually interesting, not to be like a little awkward about it, but because you guys were also in a separate world. But I just had Chris Hansen in here. You know who that is?
Yeah, yeah.
So obviously, like, he's the expert on, the legality of child abuse and all that. And I said to him, let's say I'm a junior in high school and I meet my high school sweetheart and she's a freshman in high school, and we then commence a sexual relationship, and then I turn 18 and she's 16. Like, is that statutory rape? And he had a full legal explanation. He's like, well, no, here's how it would work, all that. But he goes, once it gets to like 4 years, you're fucked or something like that. So when you guys are going to get married at 19 and 17, technically you're underage. You're of age.
Yeah.
So there was a legal loophole, as you were just explaining, to be able to do it in Vegas.
But also, I want to say her parents had to sign a document that we could get married. Or
no,
they didn't.
So my parents signed over guardianship of me when I was 16. Not to him, no. That would have been really weird.
That's right. I got a few tricks up my sleeve.
I can see the look on your face.
Wait, blink twice if you're a hostage. I got you.
It's been
We're
34
gonna put
years.
those fists to
She's
fucking
not
test.
turning on me now.
Okay.
No,
All right, good.
No, but that's why I don't think they had.
I can't remember what it was then. I thought, oh, maybe I just had to ask him. Maybe we just asked him, or we said you were going to do it.
Yeah.
They were not pro the idea at first. And then I went and visited them for a day, and they warmed up to me without her. Without her.
Yeah, I couldn't get off work.
She wasn't allowed to leave the property.
You were alone with.
Can you
with her
believe
parents
that?
and her
He went and met
sisters.
my parents without me.
Yeah.
That's kind of
I
savage.
couldn't believe
Right?
it.
And-
yeah.
How do you schmooze a Scientology couple? Like, what's you're not bringing over red wine?
No.
No.
I didn't bring shit to that. I walked in with probably $8 in my pocket.
You
no.
talk the language. That's how they.
Yeah,
That's
well,
how they
also-
accept you.
But also because I was a Sea Org member, because they're not. Her mom was a Sea Org member, but then left.
Yeah.
So her mom was in status. Her mom and her stepfather were lower status than I was.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because I'm at the headquarters of all of Scientology as a Sea Org member, working for Golden Era Productions and working in production and all this stuff. So when I come there, I'm not like a big head honcho.
Make me a sandwich.
But I'm well, oh my gosh, dude. Her mom is English, and she don't sit down to eat until the dad's done. She's making him everything, doing this, doing that. So when I showed up there, it was like, here's your this and here's your that, and I was like, damn, we got hope the young one rolls like this as well. I like this. I never been treated like this by my own mom. But no. So when I went and saw them, I was basically. She has 2 younger sisters and a younger brother, and I do good with kids. And I was hanging with the kids, and I was talking to the mom and dad, and I was basically just vibing with them for a day. And then I got back to the property at the end of the night, and I was like, "We're good. I got those guys." She couldn't even believe that I went when she didn't get approved.
I was trying to go too, but then I was disapproved to leave, and he said, "Well, I'm going." And I was like, I could not believe it. I was like,
"You're gonna go
meet my family
parents
without me?"
Without me. I'm like, "Yeah."
And he was
what
like,
do I
"Well-
need you for? I can lock this down.
It was nerve wracking.
What's the mogging term for that? It's obviously not frame mogging, but it's something. We got to invent something for that. Parents mogging. You don't
Parental mogging. Yeah. So no, but and the crazy thing about that is we probably saw them a handful of times from when we got married in 92 to when we escaped in 2005. We maybe saw them a handful of
Your
times.
parents.
Yeah. And they lived in Los Angeles, and we were about 2.5 hours out of LA.
But they were not allowed to know where we worked
Yeah.
physically. It was confidential.
Yeah, if you're a Scientologist, you're not allowed to know where the international headquarters are.
Yeah.
Even though if you Google int base, it shows up on the internet as that location.
And that fact that they were not allowed to know where I worked is the reason they were required to sign over guardianship of me when I was 16 so that I could go work there.
So who did they sign it over officially to?
To a woman named Leonora Adam, who I had never even met. She worked at the property. They signed over guardianship of me to somebody that neither myself nor my mother had ever met.
Oh, man. Oh, it's so hard to process that. You're so deep in that, like, your own mom believes, like, oh, this will work out.
Yeah. And and that was another crazy thing, is that her mom was in the Sea organization and left.
Yeah.
And then got together with her stepdad.
My mom escaped when I was 8 and left me behind.
Well, all right, wait. All right. So I kind of misunderstood that then. Because when you said you went to visit the parents and the mother and the stepfather, your mother and stepfather, they were lower than you in Scientology, meaning they're still in Scientology, but she had escaped the Sea work.
Yes. So, but she ended up going back and staying in the fold, as they say. So she is still, as of right now today, a public Scientologist that lives in Clearwater, Florida.
Have you ever talked with her since?
The last time I talked to my mom was in June of 2011. So that was 6 years after I escaped. My grandmother, who was never in Scientology, was in the hospital dying. And I went to go see my grandmother. My grandmother was the only good part of my childhood. Everything else was complete shit. Excuse my language, but
You're
literally,
in New Jersey, you're okay.
Yeah, I was in my
Some on the
mom. My
sidewalk
mom
as they
joined
walked
the
in.
Sea Organization, signed a billion-year contract as a single mom when I was 4 years old. So I grew up in the cadet organization, which is Nazi youth meets Lord of the Flies meets orphanage. Those are the elements of the cadet organization, especially in the UK at this time. Stonelands was the place where I was raised by children.
In the UK.
Yeah.
Yeah. There, if you type,
How do you not have a British accent?
I worked really hard to lose it.
Oh, wow.
Fun fact, an American dictionary will teach you an American accent. So there were words I couldn't pronounce right, especially A's and R's, like my name. I'd say Claire.
And she'd say Marc.
Claire.
Marc.
And if you look at the pronunciation key in an American dictionary, it tells you how to say things right.
Wow.
Our way.
Our way.
Your way. Like
She still says insulation, which drives me crazy.
Insulation.
Instead
Tor.
of insulation, like
sixth. There are certain words that I haven't
Whenever
quite cracked the
when
code
we
on.
got married, she had an English
I did.
accent.
I did.
In
And you
1992,
wanted her to lose it.
He teased me
I
about it.
teased
Now
her
he wishes I would have kept
because
it.
she would say Marc.
but the overriding
That's
thing.
kind of hot. I mean,
Marc, and I would
But
say,
here's the thing. I wanted an American accent. People always ask me why. And I say, well, Americans think the UK accent is cool. Conversely, UK people, at least me, thought the American accent was cool. So I wanted an American accent. Also, being born in a cult, I wanted to fit in. That was kind of my overriding chameleon approach to surviving life, was to be able to fit in.
there it was right there.
Yeah.
How do you say that? That slipped a little bit. Yeah.
surviving. Yeah. So but when we first got married, it was so hard, her accent, that she would be like, "Oh, it's in the bin," and I would be like, say,
the boot.
"In the boot." It's in the this. I'd say water, butter, cutlery.
He would tease me
Every
about
single
it.
time she would mispronounce something, I would say water, butter, cutlery. And so then over the years, Marc became Marc. And the best part is all my digital stuff, Grok, all that, all English accent women.
Oh my god.
My voice.
thing
Yeah,
for
I'm like, get me back to where I was before.
I won't ask what happens behind closed doors, but wow, that's so fascinating. So is that, you said, what did you say that was called, being a cadet?
Cadet.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Cadet. Is that, I'm trying to remember because it's been a while. Was that the same thing Jenna was
Yeah.
in?
Yes.
CEO, the Cadet Estates Org. So it's
Yeah.
basically kids.
I was in the cadet org in the UK. Jenna was in the cadet org in California.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to circle back to this in a minute. I want to close the loop because I think we're going to be doing 2 episodes. I'm looking at the clock because we got to get to your story. Before we get to like both of your stories individually and how it happened kind of in a timeline, you had said earlier, Claire, that you testified in the Danny Masterson trial as an expert witness.
Yes.
So a lot of people out there are familiar with this. Danny Masterson from That 70s Show, famous actor, was, I think after multiple trials, eventually convicted on multiple counts of rape a couple years ago, and is now in prison for 30 or 35 years or something like that. And it was controversial because he's involved with Scientology and all that. When did you get involved with the trial? Was it one of the original trials that was mistrials, or how did that all go down?
Yeah, so there were 2 trials. I was approached by the DA's office in California in, September 2022.
Okay.
And interviewed and asked to testify as an expert witness. And of course, I was like, absolutely. My view is always that I will do whatever I can in whatever capacity I can to expose the abusive practices of Scientology. However, so this was September of 2022. in the first trial, the judge ruled that there was to be no testimony regarding Scientology. So I didn't end up, because of that ruling, I did not testify in that first trial.
Why did he rule that?
Because they wanted to keep the judge wanted to keep the Scientology nonsense out of the case and just have it be about what happened. So, but during that trial, the first trial, one of the lawyers for the defense for Danny's team used a Scientology book and referenced it in such a way that it basically brought it back into the case. And so then once they did that, when the second case happened, the judge was like, oh, Scientology's, everything's off now. You can talk about whatever you want, Scientology.
And there was another element, though, because by my understanding, in the first case, the defense was not arguing that the events took place. They were using different lines of defense to try to get Danny Masterson off. However, approaching the second trial, they indicated that they were going to argue that the events even ever happened, which is where the judge then changed her mind, because there are written reports that are part of the case that indicate that, yes, Scientology knew what happened at the time that they happened. So when the defense changed their strategy, that was at least a part of what opened up having to include Scientology in the case, because they knew about it and were involved.
I forget, did you know Danny Masterson from in Scientology?
I did, but peripherally.
We shot a film with Danny when he was young, when he was a little kid. And it's, irony. He plays in Scientology, when you do the counseling, before you practice on a guinea pig like me, like Tom Cruise did, you practice on a doll.
Doll.
Yeah. So like you have a big giant Raggedy Ann doll there, and they put the cans in front of it and they ask all the questions to the doll.
So much so that the movie,
do you have security footage of Tom?
No.
Not Tom Hanks. Tom Cruise talking to a doll.
No. But the movie that he's talking about, that Danny Masterson is in, is called Use of a Doll in Auditing and TRs. That's the name of the movie.
Yeah. And in that movie, Danny Masterson plays a doll that gets drunk all the time and abuses the other girl dolls by getting them all liquored up and having his way with them. This was when he was like 12 or 13 when we shot this movie. And he played a doll called Captain Jack, and he was in a silver lame spacesuit, and he was Captain Jack. And then the other doll was called Goldie, and he would as a doll, a beer bottle is like this big to him, and we had all these oversized bottles. And he would get drunk by just sniffing the fumes in a beer bottle, because he's a doll, because he's a tiny little doll. So weird. And he would get the other girl all liquored up too, and then get up to nonsense.
What's this called? Cosby?
No, it's called The Use of a Doll in Auditing and TRs.
Oh
Anyway, but the craziest thing was, and I don't know, I didn't see any of this, but the rumor was that something happened with him and her not in the movie. And then she might have been like victim 0.
Oh my God.
So this was going on for, he was a young LA child actor.
Yeah.
He's also in Scientology. They also believe that overts are bad, but overts come from misunderstood words.
Misunderstood words?
Yeah. Like if you don't understand a word, that's when you start getting up the naughtiness. And so there's dictionaries everywhere in Scientology.
Yeah. Not the Merriam-Webster.
Yeah, no, Merriam-Webster dictionary.
So they're using our own weapons against us?
Well,
against you?
This is the thing. when we were there and you're studying in the course room, they have approved versions of different dictionaries. And one of the ones that they used so you wouldn't, when you're looking up a word, the worst case scenario is that you're trying to find out what a word means, and then there's 3 or 4 other words in the definition that you don't know what they mean.
You're not allowed to go past a word you don't understand.
So you could be, it's called a word chain. You could literally be looking up words for 2 weeks straight, because every time you look up a word, you find 2 more words that you don't know, and you have to use them in sentences, and you have to look up every single version, every single definition for one word. It could have 14 different meanings. You have to learn each one of them and use them in sentences until you fully understand it. And then when that's
say what
done,
it means in your own words, use it in sentences until you can easily do so, and then go on to the next definition and the next definition and the next definition. And then you look up the derivation, and then you also do the same with any idiomatic usage of the word. Use the idiom in a sentence.
and you have to look at, do you say derivation?
I said
You have to
derivation.
know what the derivation is. So
Yep.
somebody is like, what is that word? You're like, oh, it means this. What's the derivation? It's fucking old Greek, bitch. I know my shit.
Oh, it's basically like who's on first in the English language.
But that's a long story to tell you. Danny Masterson was on the cover of the approved dictionary. It was a student dictionary. It was him and a bunch of other kids
On the cover.
And he was one of the kids. Not because he was in Scientology, because he was a child actor, model, whatever.
Right.
And he went to the freaking Webster Student Dictionary Editions photo shoot, and he's on the cover. So when we got, but when we shot the movie with him, I mean, I think by that time I was in my late teens when we shot that movie. But I am an actor in the movie, and I come in as a Sea Org messenger in the film, and I bust the real guy who's a suppressive, and I get Danny Masterson out of trouble, and he's allowed to continue being a training doll after that. Because the real bad guy was the guy that was in Captain Jack's ear about getting up to all this nonsense.
You weren't thinking of the symbolism of this at the time? Like, this is kind of a little fucked up.
No.
No,
In
not even.
retrospect,
In retrospect,
Oh
obviously.
my God,
but
of
at
course.
the time, there's not like a moment where you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah. I didn't really know the story. I only knew my one part. And that I was allowed to be in the movie.
He reads whatever's on the prompter.
Yeah.
Ron Burgundy.
I literally had 1 page of dialogue. I don't know what else happened in this thing. But the crazy thing is that later, after that, is when I began working in as a quality control for the manufacturing. And I had to watch all those films over and over and over again. And I was in the goddamn films. I'm in a bunch of the Scientology training films that we did at the time. They've redone them all, because also Jason Begay was in a ton of those movies. And so when he started...
And Larry Anderson.
There's a lot of celebrities,
Who have
a lot
all
of
now
Scientology celebrities that were in all these films.
Oh, now they got to
And when they leave, they have to reshoot them all, because you can't have show me a motherfucking clear in all the films that you're watching.
That was when he was smart.
Yeah. Yeah, Jason. He has like a little raspy voice. That's how he talks. Anyway, but when we shot with Danny for that movie, he was a young teenager, and I'm pretty sure he never did another film with us after that, because he was on, whatever the shows were, that 70s show, and his brother Chris Masterson. Is it Malcolm in the Middle? He's in another show where he was an actor too. So, the Masterson kids and there's a whole bunch of these Hollywood, Erica Christensen, Elizabeth Moss, the Elfmans. Yeah. They're kind of all floating around. When you're talking about cognitive dissonance, what's the show that she did? Elizabeth Moss?
Mad Men?
Oh, Handmaid's Tale.
Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah.
Same thing.
I know.
Yeah.
You're like, you're
God.
You're playing in a show about a cult that does a lot of crazy stuff.
You're in
the
one.
cult that you're in also does. That's kind of wild.
Yeah.
They
So much
got
so
some
I
good
have a
talent
whole
over there.
note about all the crazy parallels in The Handmaid's Tale that just to document how much of how hypocritical it is of Elizabeth Moss to be in that show and claiming that there are no parallels.
You know what other show is crazy when Scientology sees it? When Scientologists see it? Severance.
Oh my gosh.
I still haven't seen Severance. Why is it crazy?
Because when you in the show,
so good.
You basically have some kind of surgery or something, an implant.
Yeah. So it's basically the premise of Severance is that you get a surgery in your brain, like a capsule inserted, that when you're at work, you're one person. When you leave from work, you go back to your original personality, and you have no memory of anything that
each one doesn't know about the other.
They're completely separate people.
Wow.
And in the Sea Org and Scientology, in the show they have what's called the innie. That's the one inside the work, and then you have your outie. And your outie is the one that's outside doing whatever, not at the workplace. In Scientology, you only get to be the innie.
Yeah.
Right.
And very rarely do you get to be the outie.
In Severance, there's even an e-meter, by the way.
They have it in the show?
Yeah.
It is made to look a little different, but they're doing auditing. They're doing stuff with clay, which is right out of Scientology's playbook. There are so many parallels. And then the innies try to escape. And anyway,
if you were in the Sea organization in Scientology and you see this show, you're like, okay, I don't need to watch this. That was my life.
Right.
They have the bust of the creepy guy in the lobby. They have interrogations. They have memorizing doctrine verbatim. Literally, the parallels are endless.
Does it ever give you PTSD to watch some stuff like this?
Well,
Yes.
I watched the first season with her, and then I was like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Because it's a
does.
great point, because I'm watching, I'm like, why do I need to see this? This is like, I don't want to be reminded about all this craziness. And very similar to Severance, they're all up to busy work that seems uselessly unproductive. And that's just how the Sea Org is. All these people are running around 18, 16 hours a day doing all this work. And it's not getting more people into Scientology.
Right. It feels like from the outside looking in, because again, like we were just down there, it's almost like when you're looking down at ants. And they just keep moving. Then if someone steps on the ant farm over here, these ants don't even know about it.
Yeah.
They're like, we're just going to keep moving this little fucking leaf all together right to the spot on the mound and hope we don't get stepped on, because we don't even know there's a boot stepping.
On the neck and onto the next leaf.
Ugh. What was that like, though, being in court and facing Danny Masterson? And how long were you on the stand for?
2 hours, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, 2-3 hours.
Did you ever make eye contact with him, or what was that like?
I mean, like I said, I was absolutely committed to doing the right thing. You can ask Marc, though. I was falling apart. It was terrifying it felt like going back into the belly of the beast. Not only going to LA, where they have a significant presence, but also knowing that, they would have done anything to make me fail. And here's the crazy part. So in February of 2023 is when the DA's office called me and said, okay, the judge has now ruled and you will testify. And then she said, but there's something you need to know. Scientology has named someone to counter your expert witness testimony that they just disclosed today, and that's your stepdad.
Oh, I knew it was coming. Oh my God.
And then they never ended up calling him as a witness. But it's just the
speaks
psychological
to the level
warfare.
they're trying to get in my head. So yeah, it was anyway, I put together a 30-page report of all the policies they have that make it against their rules and policies to report to authorities, to involve any law enforcement, all on and on and on. There were very specific points that were outlined that those were what I was to testify on, to explain the delay in reporting, to explain the policies and the terminology and language of Scientology. But yeah, I mean, it was a huge pressure because there are so many, the layering language policies of Scientology make it so complicated that it's really easy to get lost in the weeds in language and understanding how things work. And like Marc and I could have a conversation right now and you would literally have not one idea of anything we just said.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can, and also the abbreviations. So you could be like, hey, I went over to ASHO to get the BMO, TC, and IP, and I'm doing this, and I'll see you at the HGB later.
Yeah.
And you're just like,
like,
fuck?
wait, what? So the pressure of having to just really keep things super straightforward and specific and on point to educate a jury of 12 people that have no idea of what any of it means. It was a lot.
Did you get any weird phone calls or reach outs or anything like that in this time period?
We have.
It's been going on for so long.
Probably, I want to say since 2005.
Yeah.
After we escaped, as soon as they declared us a suppressive person,
which was the day after I escaped, by the way.
Yeah, I left 2 weeks before she did, but when the day after
3 weeks,
the day after she left, we both have the same date. Suppressive person declare issues, but we have Scientology has multiple hate websites about us.
Oh yeah,
Who is Marc?
All the people.
Headley.com, the Stand League.
Most of our family members have done hate videos against us.
So,
like my mom, my stepdad,
my email
my brother.
has been given to so many things that I get spam from.
We gotta get you a new email.
Yeah, no. I don't want to start over with a new one.
We've had private investigators following us in the documents that Marc was talking about, in the OSA spy files documents. It shows that they were they had our phones tapped.
Yeah.
They were stealing our trash and going through our trash. They were setting up
phones tapped.
Yeah.
The private investigators.
Well, the Scientology, they had a list of all of the calls that we had made,
including what was discussed,
and who we spoke to.
It's totally illegal if it's not a law enforcement.
Sure.
Like there's nothing.
If you get caught.
Yep.
And this is
it's
the crazy.
Absolutely illegal.
And here's the crazy thing. So when you talk about when they had this Guardian's office and they had all these agents, there was hundreds and thousands of Scientologists all over that one was doing this little thing and one was doing this little thing. Well, you have a Scientologist that works at Verizon. You find out about that, and now, hey, we got our guy at Verizon. So that means we got AT&T, we got Sprint, we got Verizon.
Yeah, the amount of times we've gotten letters saying, "As you requested, we sent your phone records."
Yeah,
and we're like, we didn't request that. It's gotten to the point now where we have. Not only do we, change our passwords every 90 days, but we also add security codes. Like that's nothing related to any of our information, just random digits that makes it almost. Now. Oh, yeah. I won't believe me. We
1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 1, 1, 1, 1. No, but while we were during
69, 69. It's gonna be my next one.
Did you know what that was in Scientology?
No.
You got to learn all that afterwards.
Well, so this is the crazy thing because in Scientology, where we worked,
you notice how often we say, "Oh, here's where it gets crazy."
Yeah.
We're like it's not all crazy.
What is this 69?
Yeah.
You want me to do what?
At that property, there's no internet.
No.
So when the internet, I want to say like in the late 90s, 1999, 2000, it was like, we're going to let a few Sea Org members get on the internet for research purposes. And I was over the pre-production department. I was over the pre-production department of the cinematography division. And it was ridiculous that we were sending people to the library to go through books, to find things for the films and do research. And it was like, and I was pushing like, hey, we have to get on the internet. This is ridiculous. So they have a setup there where the internet goes through a filter. So if you type anything, Body Thetans, Lord Xenu, even the word Scientology,
or David Miscavige.
Anything that there's bad stuff on the internet.
Pornhub.com.
Well, no, it's all any variation of any search that's bad about Scientology or that's X-rated, you cannot get to from that property. So
and it will flag it.
And it'll flag it if you type it in. It'll show on your search history that you're getting access denied. And there's 2 people that were over the internet for that property. One guy was in RTC, Religious Technology Center, where Dave Miscavige works, and one guy was in Golden Era Productions. He was a security guard at Golden Era Productions. And they were sort of the monitors of the filter. And it came out, and actually the only reason I even heard about it was in a meeting with David Miscavige. The guy in RTC, Warren McShane. Why did I say Warren McShavage? Warren McShane and this guy, the security guard, they were both seeing each other's access denied. And they were going on all the porn sites. They weren't going to anti-Scientology sites. Beating off but they both could see the access denied for them. And
our little secret.
And David Miscavige, in a meeting that Warren McShane was in, he said, "Oh, where's Warren?" And it was like, he's probably looking at porn. And we're all like, the fuck?
Yeah.
Warren's a porn monkey?
Certainly.
He's gooning up at RTC? That's some bullshit. He's supposed to be watching for that.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So the people in charge of it are doing the thing. But the craziest thing is that property is filled with foreign nationals. So you get Swedes, Danes, Germans, people from Spain, Italy, everything. Well, the filter don't know what titties is in Italian. So these guys that had internet access, they're just searching in their native language for this stuff. And the filter's like, I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, there's no way for someone there. I want to say in the early 2000s when I was able to get on the internet and do research and do this sort of thing, I was probably one of maybe 10 out of 800 people that were allowed to go on the internet.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they don't have, in the Sea Org, it's very limited. And then even in recent years, they've been giving, Sea Org members are not allowed to have iPhones, but they're allowed to have Androids because you can't put a filter like their filter that they use that not only blocks you from going to the site, but then also reports to somewhere what site you're going to. Apple's like, that ain't going to be in the App Store. But Google, on the Android phones, hey, baby, we got all the filters and all the crazy stuff you need.
Because the CIA created Google.
Yeah, so.
Which means the CIA create Scientology.
There's a ton of people that think that the FBI and the CIA, to this day, control Scientology.
There's a lot of people that think that. And I got to go to the bathroom, so we're going to talk about them afterwards if that's cool. So this is the end of the first episode. We're going to do a second episode right after this. It's been awesome, guys. But in this one, we're going to get into that, and then we're going to really get into your stories, like from the beginning and like childhood, and some of it we've covered a little bit, but I really want to get an idea of like how it developed over time.
Sounds good.
All right. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and we'll see you for the next episode.
Awesome.
What's up, guys? Thanks so much for watching the video. If you have not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button before you leave, as well as leaving a like on the video. It's a huge, huge help. You can join my Patreon via the link in the description, and you can also join my clipping community via the Discord link down below. See you for the next episode.